And welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting patiently. There has been a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of last-minute phone calls and texts, and we're not going to bury the lead on this one. We are here to discuss Doctor Who, Season 12, Episode 5, Fugitive of the Judoon. The Judoon had very little to do with this episode, other than we found out one of the leaders was female, of course. An episode filled with girl bosses. We are going to spoil the hell out of it, and we are also going to talk about the returning character, and more importantly, that little rumor I reported on a few months back, the one I've been hinting about for months prior to that. Crap. It looks like it's true, and I'm not happy
Gary.
about it.
I decided not to go with that rumor just because I was hoping to hell it wasn't going to happen. Although I could tell 1 minute into this episode. Doctor Who is done. Chibs killed it in 15 minutes.
And 15, and like the most basic biatch way too. And we'll go over the episode. There's a lot to take in, and then we can discuss maybe we saw a better female doctor than Jodie, possibly, slightly better. And yes, I understand.
And a better TARDIS.
Way better TARDIS. A way better TARDIS. Okay, so right off the bat, I want to get this out of the way. I don't talk about the sports ball here. We had a major death this morning. Kobe Bryant passed away in a helicopter crash. He's a basketball player from the Los Angeles Lakers. He's kind of a legend in Southern California where I grew up. So we're going to acknowledge his passing. May he rest in peace. Hearts and prayers to his family. But we're here to rage about Doctor Who. And maybe, I'll talk about it on Sports Wars or something over with Jeremy's channel. But it is a major thing that's happening. And I'm very sorry. And I don't mean to. It's a helicopter crash. I don't ride in helicopters ever for precisely this reason. So I'll drive. So sorry. I'm sorry to Kobe and his family. And he's young, and it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, I noticed he was almost exactly my age. But yeah, I didn't even find out until you messaged that when we were chatting throughout this mess. But yeah, R.I.P. Kobe. It's this is why I don't fly. I drive everywhere.
Yep.
But yeah, it sucks.
I only fly when I absolutely have to. Period. All right. Now on to Doctor Who, to more less serious fare. But we're watching the death of the first franchise. I know Star Trek made fandom famous here in the States, but technically the first franchise is Doctor Who.
Yep.
And it's over now. Yeah. It's done.
1963 to, I'm still saying 2017, but you can say 2020 if you want to look at when canon has been completely destroyed. And I don't know if we want to address the major continuity and canon violation now, or if we want to do it later.
But let's do it now. Screw it. By the way, spoilers. Okay, we're good.
Okay, spoilers. So this Doctor, we are led to believe that this is pre-William Hartnell. Chibs is an idiot. Now, explain to me how this Doctor has a police box. We know for a fact that was never part of canon. That was part of the original run, and that was reinforced by Stephen Moffat, where we see the first Doctor, and I'm still calling him the first Doctor, stealing the TARDIS before it had taken on the form of the police box. It was sometime between that and the first episode where the chameleon circuit got stuck and it became a police box. So there was no police box prior to the first Doctor. So right now, I think that in itself completely invalidates canon. And this is, like I said, Gary, I know you went with the rumor. I decided not to report on it just because I didn't want it to be true. I was actively avoiding it. But we could tell as soon as this episode started, just with that first scene and with the rumors that had been coming out that this was going to happen. So all of Doctor Who lore was thrown out in 15 minutes in a way that doesn't even correspond with canon. The only way around this is, well, this was another lost regeneration. No, because it's also made very clear that there's no way this could be part of the first regeneration cycle because the first 13 lives were used up. Yes, it was.
Yes.
We didn't have we had 13 doctors, but keep in mind the first regeneration cycle, one regeneration was used up by the War Doctor, and David Tennant, which is also part of canon now, regenerated into the same phase twice. So the first regeneration cycle goes from William Hartnell to Matt Smith. 13 doctors.
Yes.
11 doctors, but 13 regenerations. So there's no way that you can explain this, and I don't think Chibs, and we know Whitaker doesn't even understand Doctor Who lore, but there's no way that you can explain this without saying that there were another 13 regenerations before William Hartnell. And the other part of this rumor is that that entire cycle, and this is not confirmed, but this has been part of the rumor, that that entire cycle was female.
Yep.
Yep. And look at what they did with the casting. You cannot criticize this without being labeled as, you know, the usual ist and isms and phobic. This is where Doctor Who died. And this is where there's been a divide in the fan base, and it's not 50-50. But long-term Doctor Who fans, this is where it ends for them. And with the ideologues, and as I call them, the Rainbow Hate Mob, and just look at my Twitter, they've been descending for about the last half hour. This is now their show. This is no longer our show. So the chances of, I've given up on saving it. I had given up on saving it before this, but now, like I said, I'm just calling this mess out for what it is. I'm just watching the dumpster fire burn. So that's my beginning rant. Yeah, I'll turn it over to you guys. We're just delighted with this news.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to go to Gallifrey 1 in a couple months. I'll go to hang out with fans, but this show's cooked. It's done. I knew this when they changed the Doctor to a female because I knew the baggage that would come with it, as you did, as everybody did. I'm not saying I'm on the cutting edge of that. I'm just saying I knew. And I'm just it's one thing knowing something and then seeing it, visualizing it, watching it unfold in front of you. And it doesn't make it any better. It's sad where this show is gone. It's sad that they did a course correction while doubling down all in one season. It's sad that the crowd that they are catering to is so small. They'll never be able to keep the show going. I mean, it's the reason I heard that rumor is because the person who was involved with the BBC might not be there much longer because jobs are being whittled down to nothing as far as licensees related to this show. It's not growing, folks. And it looks like that the BBC is just happy having this little edutainment show that they're going to put out. And honestly, there always were some in the BBC who felt like they spent too much money on this show. And it looks like they have won. And they had something that was really special that was equal to Star Trek and Star Wars, and now it's an embarrassment. I mean, like literally, it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So yeah, and it's current. I mean, the storytelling, even in this, with this episode, which the most happened in the entire era of Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, and a bunch of it, as you have said, Starry, was sitting around in a car and talking. There's so much standing around and talking. There's no running. There's no excitement. And of course, Captain Jack came back. Yay, Captain! And we're gonna get into that. So pissed off that that this got wasted. I think
awkward.
It was really awkward, and it's telling that he did not have a scene together with Jodie. It almost felt tagged on, didn't it? But maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. And no, it's. I'm not happy. I'm not happy that the rumor is right. I'm actually upset about it, but I'll get over it. But fuck this show, and fuck the BBC. If they think and who knows? Maybe they get a ratings boost out of this. I honestly don't even care. I don't care. If people want, the sect out there that wants this show, the Lucy Jones is out there, you can have it. It's all yours. Go and support it. Tweet about it every day. And then you'll have a nice little niche. I mean, you and the Raylos can get together and in your little group and have a good time. That's great. And all, I don't know, a couple thousand of you can enjoy a show that will dwindle and die.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much sums it up.
Well, and one thing that I also noted at the end in terms of how little support this show has, did you catch at the end? It's now available for pre-order on DVD. I don't know if there it definitely is no Blu-ray, but that tells you where the support is going. And there will be a ratings boost on iPlayer with this one, and it's not going to be for the reasons they want. Twitter is right now exploding over this, and the ratings for this episode and this episode only are going to receive a boost after the fact because people, fans, people that have no interest in watching this show ever again, will watch this one episode just to see if what we are saying is true because it's too stupid to believe. So
it really is. It really is. And for one, and they're going to watch Captain Jack coming back.
Yeah.
That's and this is the thing, though. This is how desperate they are because the ratings are going to be because of him. This rumor and because of him. It has nothing to do with Jody and the fam. And again, you had to do another gimmick. They do this in comic books all the time. And by the way, he's not coming back probably until the last episode, folks. So there might be some renewed interest for next episode. But if you listen to what he says, I might not be back for a while. But
even next season.
Or even next season. And that's the way I think they're going because I think next season will be shortened, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that one, but I don't think they'll get a full season out of it. But yeah, and again, I don't care. I would be interested too if I was just a normie and I heard Captain Jack was coming back. But in my last video, I showed you guys how the BBC iPlayer judges a view, which is somebody tuning in for 2 minutes.
I couldn't believe that when you said that.
Yep. So that's and again, if you use the matrix of YouTube, if you didn't watch the video, only 15% of the people who start watching a video stay till the very end. 15%. So, and the same would be for iPlayers. It might even be less because that's an hour-long episode as opposed to like a 10-minute video. It might even be a smaller. But I was nice and I doubled it from YouTube. So if iPlayer says 1 million people watched it, then it's only 300,000 who watched the episode all the way through.
Yep.
So the ratings might be close to a 30-year low at this point, for real. Not quite there yet, but.
Well, you have to look at the overnights because nobody knew this was going to happen. So the overnights will be interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is coming off last week's Boar Fest, and then that, I don't even know what to call it, that came the week before. So I think the overnights will be under 3 million. They have to be.
They might be, and it might double with the iPlayer. Sorry, Starry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say they'll definitely go up with catch up just because of the word of mouth. But after this, it's just going to go down.
Oh yeah, the Capaldi, the iPlayer. Some of the Capaldi stuff would triple on iPlayer. Especially Hellbent. If you go back and look at those numbers, he had like 3 million overnight, and it would be 3 million on iPlayer. It would be equal because people were, went so nuts over Heaven Sent. I'm sorry, not Hellbent. Hellbent was like the worst 1-2 parter ever. Like best episode, shit episode. Right? I was like, what the? And you know what? I just watched both of those, and they are still 1,000,000 times better than what we're getting right now. I mean, it felt like Doctor Who. I'm like, I almost missed it. I was like, oh my God. The occasional snarky remark was fine. This is too much. And the whole going for Graham, being the doctor thing. It's like, come on, stop.
Well, you knew they were going to go that.
Yes.
That's going to be an ongoing joke. And
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well-
We're old and tired. That's all we are.
Yeah.
That's what Jody said. Jody, I've got
Yeah.
an interview. It'll be in my next video. I've got the audio clip of her going, "You just tired. You got old." Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, we just
No,
we're
can't
going to
wait.
walk away. Well,
Cannot-
unlike her.
Yes. Can't wait for her to hit 50. We'll see how her career does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You'll be cast as an aunt or a mom.
Yep.
Yep. And it's that's not our fault. That's not our fault. Yeah, but all right, so do you want to go over the episode real quick?
Yeah, I lucky I have I stopped taking notes about partway through because my blood pressure went through the roof, but I do have notes before everything went to hell. So we had that musical opening, which might be the cringiest thing I've ever seen in Doctor Who history. That was awful. But then you could tell they were built, but that's where I could tell where they were going because they even when they try to do subtlety, they can't. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to go with this. And let's not forget, a white dude is the villain. And we've learned that, he's a bad husband. And also the bakery shop owner is hitting on Ruth, who is later the doctor. So we had that. So right off the bat, we had identity politics. The Judoon were just there they were just there. Captain Jack was tacked on. And like you guys, I didn't want to see him come back. Even though the first 2 seasons of Torchwood get a lot of hate, although the Chibs episodes are terrible, I'm thinking of Cyberwoman specifically. I think Torchwood is one of the high points of the modern Doctor Who universe. I think Children of Earth is one of the finest. Yep. Oh, Gary.
My most prized possession.
That's your very own Rose Tico. But I think Children of Earth, which now we'd be looking at it as wokeness, but this was 2009. The current year ideology did not exist at the time. Children of Earth was as good as Doctor Who gets. And Series 4, which was the crossover or co-production with Stars, started off well, but it had the ending was just, my God, they didn't know where to go with it. But we have had Captain Jack back in Big Finish, and for years, it's been 9 years since he's been physically on screen, which is when Torchwood ended. So for years, we wanted him to come back into Doctor Who. For years, we wanted to come back into Torchwood. Never got him with Matt Smith. Never got him with Peter Capaldi. They bring him back now, and the inclusion is just awkward. It's a cameo. He's there for, less than 10 minutes? Doesn't actually meet the Doctor. Oh yeah, and gives us a warning, which I'm sure everybody's forgotten about now. Beware the lone Cyberman, whatever the hell that's supposed to be. So I'm assuming he's probably going to be back. But yeah, it's honestly, even the wokeness and the stupidity of the early points in this episode are completely overshadowed by what we got.
Yes. Having typical the white guy being bad, having the Doctor in a relationship with a man, they just tried to subvert every quote unquote trope they possibly could. This was the most in your face to the old fans, trying to this is the same crap they did with Watchmen, which was, believe me, I got so much freaking shit for calling Watchmen out for what it was. It's just, again, superficial virtue signaling, and it's basically, this was a trolling episode. This was Chibnall trolling us. Okay, dude, you win. We're not going to give you any more money, but I guess you don't care. You don't care. I guess your bank account is filled with woke points and little ass grabs at your cocktail parties going, oh, look at how wonderful we are. We read episodes about Rosa Parks. Oh, my goodness. Yes, you're so forward thinking, Chibnall, that we can predict your goddamn wokeness. I mean, we can make a game of it. We can do woke bingo now with freaking Doctor Who. Yes. As a matter of fact, I'll get to work on that because I don't have anything to do right now. but I'll do it.
Well, it's so sad that when the rumors came out that he was going to go with another female doctor, everybody knew exactly what demographic he was going to go with. And I'm not speaking out against that demographic, but it's, yeah, even though people say I do, but they just love me over on the Twitter. But and that's why it was so obvious at the beginning. I'm like, you're going to do this, aren't you? And I don't know. It's been the episode finished an hour ago. I'm still almost speechless. And originally I wasn't going to have a video out until Friday because my work life is insane. Now I'm just going to give up on sleep tonight and put out a video that's going to get a lot of love.
It'll be cathartic.
I'm right there with you. I wasn't even planning on doing a Doctor Who video this week. I have been working all night last night, all day yesterday, between Friday and Friday Night Tights on my Star Trek Picard review that I've been breaking down and recutting and re-editing for 3 days, and it's already old freaking news, but damn it, you're getting it anyway. I worked too hard on this. And I was about to release it, and I'm like, this is going to be a nothing Doctor Who episode. I thought it was supposed to be a two-parter. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it's just the Judoon coming back, and it's going to be a bunch of member berries. And yeah, within the first 30 seconds of this episode, I'm like, oh, fuck. There goes my day. There goes my day. So, yeah. And I honestly, I was 50-50 on whether the rumor would be true or not. The person I spoke with said it's a possibility. And it's only one person I spoke with. Again, this is a person I knew prior to my YouTube days. We go back to that comic shop I used to own. Everybody take a drink. And we became friends because we were Doctor Who fans. That was it. We started chitter-chatting on the internet, and we were Doctor Who fans, and we liked talking about the show. And eventually I found out that they worked with them, and I wasn't trying to get anything out of this. This was all offered information to me. And the only reason I ran with it, like Bulls Trek said, is because I totally believed it could happen. I just, but now that it's happening, I don't want it to be true. And hopefully this gets undone. I'm already trying to rationalize it in my head. In the first episode or second episode of Spyfall, they had those multiple copies of Earth that they just kind of blew past a little bit. Hopefully we're talking about separate reality.
Another dimension.
Hopefully this isn't a meta-crisis doctor somehow regenerated, and this is the David Tennant doctor. I don't know. Or it's the doctor. There's no sonic screwdriver.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. That's how we know it's pre the original regeneration cycle.
I'm just trying to rationalize it to make it not true, Bulls Trek, because I'm a fan. I know it's true. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, a competent show writer, might be able to rationalize. But we know, we've known for, almost 3 years now, exactly what Chibs's vision was. And it was coming to this. And as I keep saying, we'd all hope that it wouldn't happen. But it's kind of funny because we go back to July of 2017 when this casting announcement was made. And again, you can go back to my trying to be very politically correct video that took me a week and a half to finally put out, where I guessed that there might be some issues. But in terms of what we've gotten now, 3 years later, almost 3 years later, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. And this is what happens when you're paid for by British license fee payers who pay for this crap whether they want to or not. And that's why if Doctor Who was, or if the BBC was a private corporation like everything else, we would have seen something start to turn around, because obviously Hollywood, we're seeing steps in the other direction because they're going to go bankrupt if they don't. Doctor Who, because they don't have to worry about that. I'm like, obviously the like BBC World does, because that operates on a profit. CTV, which owns the rights in Canada, obviously has to make a profit. Warner Brothers, which handles DVD and Blu-ray distribution in Region 1, obviously have to worry about it. But the BBC, the woke ideologues, it makes no difference to them. And that's why it's now basically been confirmed that Whittaker is going to be coming back. And I've disowned this show. This is not Doctor Who, and I'm no longer looking to save it because it's unsalvageable now. So the only reason I'm still making videos is to call it out.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm done. As soon as I saw where this was going, I was like, I'm done. I tried to be an optimist about it, and I'm still processing. Having PTSD.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so galling because my money has gone towards this. Oh. And yeah, unfortunately, I do use BBC iPlayer. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a TV license. And the kids watch the BBC Children's Channel, so I'm basically just waiting when they've grown up and they move on to whatever else, and then I can get rid of it. But at the moment, I'm a bit stuck.
That's something, Starry. That's something that I hear a lot because obviously Gary and I have a lot of people in the UK that watch, and it's the same thing. They don't want to support this. They don't want their money going to this. But then again, you don't pay the license fee, and you've got small kids. Well, then that takes away their entertainment, and it's still. I don't even think the UK is entirely aware of what the rules are, but apparently. I was talking to Dan from Spacebook, and I guess even if you watch Sky, you have to pay the license. So it's like if you want to watch TV, then you got to pay this. If you don't, then I guess it's a fine. Although I don't know if they still throw people into jail over that. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's extortion.
Yeah, you can be arrested for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know they used to have those fake vans that would drive around. You can see pictures and there's documentaries of the license fee Dodgers detection vans. But yeah, they're stealing money. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's theft. And nobody on this side of the pond, even the very concept of a license fee is just foreign to us. Like, we have off the air. We do have, in Canada, the BBC or the CBC is taxpayer funded, but we're not forced to pay a license. In the US you've got PBS and things like that do get tax dollars, but nothing like this. And it should be outdated, and hopefully your new PM, regardless of whether you like him or not, hopefully the rumors that he might cancel the license fee are true, and then the BBC is going to have to change, or it's going to fall into oblivion.
Yep. They're not going to be able to waste it. But I mean, I can't get my head around that, paying for that. I mean, it's bad enough that we pay for our for-profit companies, but we have a choice. That is just downright un-American. But you're not American, so there you go. But, I would never go for that, because you know what? We would just pirate the shit out of it because we're just a bunch of rebels. We have our own problems, but don't. But far from popular belief, I don't walk outside my door and witness 5 shootings a day. And actually, it's very rare to witness a shooting at all, or even see a gun unless you're on a gun range. I know a lot of governments tell people differently, but you can go your entire life. Actually, most people go their entire lives here without even seeing a gun, or especially one used in a crime. It's fucking insane what they've done, but they're doing it. They are deep into it. There is no saving this. We are going to chronicle its demise. That it's simple as that. And we've already seen what happened with Star Wars. Now you're seeing Disney freaking panic. They're playing all cool outside, but believe me, Baby Yoda is not going to keep this franchise going. Star Trek just swung for the fences, and I've been trying to stay away from people's reviews from Star Trek Picard. And they're doing the same thing. They're luring people in. We brought back this old character, but he's going to be led around by the girl who's the key to everything. And it's another, bait and switch. And that's what this is. It's just a giant bait and switch. And that's how much they believe in your cause and all the women in your cause. They believe so much in it, they have to trick people into watching it. And it's clickbait. It's fucking clickbait. That's what they've done.
It's insulting. It's really insulting.
It's like, we're all about you, but we got to give you, okay, but here's what we got to do. We got to give you less episodes, more companions, less screen time. Everything you got was from a man, by the way. And yeah, we're going to put you on our best night instead of Saturday night. And then eventually we're going to have to give you a male guest star. Sorry. Yeah. And he's going to get a lot more attention than you. Sorry, but that's because people really don't believe in this shit. But we're supposed to, because the BBC said so. Because they said so. And by the way, I am not one of my favorite shows of all time is Buffy. So
Yep, me
I'm
too.
not about that shit at all. I just want one character in one show to remain the same. That's all.
What was the point of Jodie in this episode? What did she actually do except ask a lot of questions?
She
and do the primary school teacher thing of, you better be telling me the truth or what?
I know.
What are you gonna do?
Are you gonna write me a letter? What are you gonna do?
We had her in a bad mood at the beginning again, because that's how this doctor responds to Gallifrey being destroyed.
I just thought of that. She's Dr. Karen. She's gonna take us to the manager.
Yep.
Dr. Karen. Yeah.
And the companion, farm just sat around the TARDIS. The TARDIS is meant to be vast. There's a million things they could be doing, not just sat around on a hard floor watching the Doctor mope.
Yeah, without being noticed for 20 minutes.
Don't. They're having such a good time.
The ugliest TARDIS that looks like a spider died with a boner.
I hate that TARDIS.
Yeah. I love Xena too, Tony Richards. Xena was awesome.
Yep. Yeah, love Xena.
Well, and one thing I think you're saying before the stream, their implanted doctor, this new doctor, who is the new old doctor, gave a better performance than the actual doctor.
Yeah. Oh,
that was funny.
Yes.
This other doctor was better, like much better. I mean, I wouldn't be all rah, but I actually felt a little presence there. And Jodie just looked small. As a matter of fact, she clowned Jodie, and she's like, "Your trousers don't even go the freaking rainbows and shit." And I'm like, "Yeah, because and at the end, Jodie had to have a little pep talk by the fam. She's all, "We're your fam." I mean, like, really, I couldn't be, especially when I'm down in the dumps and the universe is coming at me. The Cybermen, my home world is gone. Yaz having my back is going to make me feel so much better. Bullstrick. I'm going to go, but you know what? I got a Yaz. I got a parking cop or whatever the fuck she is.
Well, bestest ever. We have to remember that. Yeah, Yaz is better than all of us, even though she doesn't go to work ever. Yeah, but still has a job. Couldn't even restrain that one very small guy in the closest. Yeah, Kerblam is about to say the closest thing we had to a good episode last year. So yeah, it's she's supposed to be the bestest ever, but even the way they've written her character, she actually sucks. And the doctors to her companions, "You don't know me. No, we don't know you either. Go away."
Yeah. At the end of the episode, there was another Time Lord there, and it was all women. So it was all and listen, I like me some women, okay? But it's a female-centric show now. So a show that was for little boys, that was an action show. I mean, they just fundamentally changed it. It is now a show for girls. Yeah. Fine. But the thing is, they make it a show for girls and they're all, "You're supposed to like it now." And it's like, I'm sorry. I don't. The verisimilitude for me is ruined. I find it hard to believe. And it's because of the lead actress. Good writing and a good performance can change my mind on absolutely everything. Great example is the Joker movie, which I thought shouldn't have existed. Dude, why is my phone talking to me now? But it ended up being the best thing I ever saw. Witcher, I thought was going to be woke garbage, and I ended up freaking loving it. So my mind can be changed. Like Star Trek Picard wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. My review's coming. I still didn't like it, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. But what they did at the end of the episode here was just like, we're going to just make this all girl power. Fuck you. Again, it was a troll. And okay. I mean, you guys own the rights. You guys write the stories. That's cool. I can just talk shit about your show and walk away. It's fine. I'm cool with it. I've made my peace.
Well, here's the thing. Even if this is supposed to be a show for girls, because obviously entertainment for boys, for the most part, is now completely gone. But even these shows, and it's almost everything, you can look at current Doctor Who, Batwoman, whatever, that are made for girls, they're not good TV either.
Yeah.
And there are some shows out there that had the potential to be great shows, but they went woke. I think one really good example is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. That actually had the potential to be a great show. You know, well shot, great actors across the board, and like Michelle Gomez is in the show, but they went completely woke, I think 10 minutes into the first episode, and ended up losing everyone. So it's not that it's just guys or, you know, boys that can't have good entertainment, but the stuff that they're making for girls or passing it off for girls, it's bad, and it's just as damaging to them, I think, as it is to boys. So yeah. Oh, go ahead, Starry.
So go on. I was going to say, it's all rubbish anyway. The best shows that succeed are the ones that offer everybody. And when Doctor Who returned, it was for everybody. It was for girls. RTD wrote it to get more women and girls in it, because he made Rose after watching Buffy. There was a lot of Buffy influence in his writing to modernise it. I mean, that's how I got hooked into it. And this pandering, it's just terrible and weak and pathetic.
Well, I think,
And
yeah. Well, I was going to say, even if you want to look at Rose, I think probably the best comparison to what they're doing now to what they did back then was the character of Martha. You know, obviously somebody that is not a white male. The first full-time, Mickey was kind of part-time, but the first full-time non-white companion. Oh, my phone is yelling at me too. But the difference is Martha was portrayed as a real person. And I think one thing that sticks out, or one line in Smith and Jones, is if you're going to be a doctor, as far as I'm concerned, you have to earn that title. So she was never portrayed as somebody who was the bestest ever. Mm-hmm. She was portrayed as somebody who was a real character, somebody that I think was a wonderful inspiration for both boys and girls, down to earth. So and here we're looking at just 2007. So God, 13 years ago now, but that's how things have changed. So there were ways you could write these characters. RTD, and I think Stephen Moffat before Clara did it very well. I'm like, Amy was not a woke character. Some people will say the relationship between Amy and Rory was, well, this is feminism. I'm like, well, not really. Yes, she did make fun of him, but you have to look at the way that arc closed. She gave up everything to be with him. And I'm going to turn my phone off.
Yeah, this is what's missing, Bullstrick. You were right there, and you had it. With Rose, she was a shop girl going nowhere. With Martha, she was a medical student. There was stuff to build on. And now we're bringing these people in, and they're just amazing when they start out. And there's nowhere to go after you're amazing. You're just amazing, and you keep being amazing and doing amazing stuff, and then it stays amazing. And that's what they think girls want. They think girls want this pandering, woke bullshit because this is how the entertainment world sees you, as this little child. I cut it out of my last video, but in Orphan 55? Orphan 55, when they had fucking that girl sucking her thumb and Ryan sucking her thumb, and they were both sitting down there. That's exactly how the BBC sees people of color and women sitting down there sucking their thumb. That was a perfect image of how they see you. And we don't. Okay, we want to see you be realized characters. Everybody being realized characters, and that's all. And it was a show for fucking everybody. And now nobody wants to watch the show because it's a goddamn embarrassment, and it sucks. I mean, the writing sucks on top of all of this.
Well, I will speak for women everywhere. We are not that fragile on it. All right, we're not. We want real female characters that.
No,
I can't even believe
I've been in a room. I've been in a room where a woman was giving birth. You're not fragile. I've been there. No,
and that's what's funny. And I know. And every time I mention this, like, oh well, you're just saying that and pandering and talking out of your ass. When I say that Buffy is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, That was a strong female woman. Captain Janeway, 1995, even
Yeah.
though Kate Mulgrew is kind of batshit crazy, but the character itself was a strong female woman. One of the original companions, Barbara, in 1963, was one of the strongest female companions Doctor Who ever had, and she had no problems putting the first Doctor in his place.
Yep.
So you had strong female women until about 4 years ago.
We spoke about this before, I'm sure we have, but if it wasn't for Barbara, there wouldn't be any Doctor Who.
Nope.
It was Barbara who noticed Susan, her intelligence, and it was Susan and Barbara who decided to investigate the junkyard.
And the morons of this time judge her back on those ideals. And if you consider Barbara, there's probably guys. I mean, Barbara was feminist for the time. She was very extremely. So and so many idiots judge people from the early 60s on today's standards, not real. I mean, I just heard Akiva Goldsman was talking about this with fucking Star Trek and talking about the whole miniskirt debate again, just forgetting the fact that was requested by the actresses. And that was part of a middle finger to the prudes at the time. So
it was part of the sexual revolution, and both Nichelle Nichols and Grace Lee Whitney, who were the two, because there were two primary cast members that were female. Yeoman Rand only lasted until episode 13, but those two actually pushed for it.
I was against, by the way. Big fan of Yeoman Rand, by the way.
Yeah, it's she just kind of disappears after the
I know
13th episode, and we don't see her again until the motion picture. But it's like, and second and third and fourth wave feminism are very different. They have very little in common. Second wave feminism works, and in this context of the 1950s and especially the 1960s, it was legitimate because there were genuine issues that women and non-whites were working towards. Now it's a I wouldn't even say it's third wave feminism now. We're now in a fourth wave where it's about supremacy and it's about belittling an entire gender. So to these people that will compare ideologies or ideas from half a century ago to today, shows how ignorant they are.
Yep. And how little they care. It's ignorance or aloofness, maybe a little bit of both. And it truly is. Their view of us is we are children. We need to be led. They have acknowledged their power, and if you've been noticing, I'm sure you have. I've noticed it as well. They are less secretive about it now, and that's the thing is they've had to lie. I mean, constantly calling Bowles Trek and yours truly, and sorry, Starry, you are going to get it now, big time, because you are breaking the rules there. You're going against the narrative, and constantly calling us like the worst stuff so much where it doesn't even matter anymore. We were talking about, there's a Reddit post out there about Bowles Trek and yours truly, and now if you search my name or his name on Google, one of the search results that comes up right next to it is racist.
Yep.
And like we laugh about it. We got a good chuckle out of it now because that's all we can do. They use this word so much because they don't have a real argument for what we're saying. Either they don't believe in nuance or they are just disingenuous, which I believe is disingenuous. That's it. And we're talking about a TV show. We're not talking about politics. We're actually wanting it a little more neutral. That's it. We're not asking anybody to change their politics. We're not asking for the politics of Doctor Who change. All of us have been fans for a long time, and we are very aware of what Doctor Who has been in the past. Don't want it to change, but this has changed. It has, what Starry said earlier, it was a show for everybody. It used to be a show truly for everybody that you can watch, and that's a special thing. We didn't have that, and that's why Doctor Who was gaining popularity, because it was going against the nihilism that we've had to deal with in our entertainment for the last freaking couple decades now. And Doctor Who was actually an oasis for that for the longest time. And then it just, I don't know, because the ratings were going down, they just decided to say, F it, we're going to and that's the other thing behind the female doctor, as you all know, it was just a last ditch effort, what we call a Hail Mary here in the States. You got nothing else. You throw up a Hail Mary, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, we were going to cancel the show anyway. That's how much they believed in it.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Gary.
No, you go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, and if they're talking about issues with the ratings happened, or the ratings started to fall through the floor with Series 9. And what happened with Series 9? Like, if you look, I'm just pulling up the average ratings here I've got Wikipedia, better than nothing. But if you look at, so Series 7, so the final Matt Smith, the average was 7.44 million. Series 8, the first with Peter Capaldi, was not the disaster that it has been made out to be. It was 7.26 on average, so perfectly in line with the Matt Smith era. Series 9 is when the show went woke, and at this point, I no longer blame Stephen Moffat. You can look at the style change. This is something that almost certainly happened from within the BBC. Yeah, so they went woke.
This was taming Peter Capaldi.
Yep.
They had this, I believe Moffat had a set story for him, and it was going to go along the Colin Baker kind of arc, and the BBC got cold feet.
No, and it was hijacked mid-stream, if you want to say that.
And you can tell that at that time, there's very little merchandise with Peter Capaldi's image on it. It tends to be the logo or just the TARDIS. And it was like they were ashamed that it was an old white guy. That's how it seemed to me. They didn't have faith in his image.
Yeah, and I see Gary just pulled up. So 2015 ratings, and 6.02 or 6.02, 6.03 was the average for that entire season.
And they were dipping right here, which I think we're going to get close to. I mean, this might change everything. I don't know. It depends on where we go on this, but it's still. It averaged out 10, where it gets bad at 10. That's where we're like 2 million people were watching it.
Yeah.
But this is where it started. You're right.
And by season 10, two reasons. One was they put Doctor Who aside for an entire year when it was already on a downward trajectory. So that didn't help things. And the fact that season 10 was terribly written. And again, I present this as more evidence to the fact that Moffat was having his hand forced, because you could tell he just didn't give a crap anymore by the time series 10 rolled around. The stories were terrible. The show got woker. So they say they needed to make this change because of the ratings. I'm like, no, the ratings were fine until the show went woke 2 years before Whittaker. So if you want to see the downward trajectory, that's where it started. And of course, the ratings went up for Series 11 because it was a novelty, especially with The Woman Who Fell to Earth. It was a big deal. But you could watch the ratings go down a little bit week by week, and now they've lost half of that original audience. So it's you can't blame. I don't blame Capaldi for the ratings drop, because his first series was fine, and his first series was great, aside from a few moments like there was some wokeness introduced there. But no, it was the ideology, and I think the fact that Moffat had his hand forced is what. No, I'm saying this is just my theory. This is not proven, but I think Moffat having his hand forced is what ultimately catapulted the show, and that was 4 years ago now.
Yeah, no, I think he said it himself in the Pertwee Blu-ray where he said, hey, Doctor Who's for everybody. If you're for or against Brexit, he's all things and everything, because he's above all that stuff. And now it's just turned into, Magic School Bus. You can compare it to a lot of things. I think class failing had a lot to do with what we are dealing with now. And what Starry said, there's no merchandise there. This show is just going to trail out. We're getting one more season of Jodie. So minimum, we're looking at 3 years before anything changes out. Nobody's going to care by then. And that's when we'll be at the 60th anniversary. So maybe they just end it. Maybe they just go, this is a good place to stop, give it a break, which is too bad. But I mean, I'm not going to care in 3 years. I'm not going to want to follow. I just know there's other things. I'll toss a coin to my Witcher. I'll watch it, The Expanse. There's other things. And that's the thing. These franchises thought they were the big dog for so long, especially Star Wars. Star Trek they know they're in trouble. Doctor Who thought they were the big dog too, and they're not. There's so many other things we can watch and do. And we have a lot of choices now. And this is not going to be one for a lot of people. I still think a large portion of this audience is all about the political pandering, the people who enjoy this. I don't know how many hardcore Doctor Who fans. I'm sure there are some left. I know there's podcasts out there and YouTube channels that are 100% dedicated to this one show. So that's it. That's all they got. I feel bad for them, but you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. And we'll see at Gallifrey 1, which is one of the biggest Doctor Who conventions here in the States, and it's not that big. It's not, but we'll see. We'll see. But I have to get to some super chats here, guys. So let's get to the audience. 200 Watt Studio for $5 said the TARDIS didn't become a police police box until the Hartnell series. How can this be a pre-Hartnell Doctor? That is a good question. 200 Watt Studio, it's probably going to be some timey-wimey bullshit, which is a phrase I liked at the time and now I'm learned to hate. So, the Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews, who always brings some of the best super chats for $5. I'll be at Wales Comic Con in Telford on Saturday. Can we meet up? Of course. Wow, that was the most normal one I've ever gotten from you. Yes. Yes, of course we can, Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews, who constantly disagrees with me, but hangs in there. And that's good. We can do that. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care. I don't know. My ego's I don't care. I'm too old. I don't give a shit. But yes, I'll be at Wales Comic Con. I will be in the UK in April, and I can't wait to meet you all there. Nicholas Horton for £5. Hail, Gary. Chib balls just destroyed canon, and Doomcock will blow his stack. Hashtag Nerdrotic was right. I like that. Thank you very much. He absolutely is going to blow his stack, and we will be discussing it tonight on the Inquisition, which was going to be pretty much all Star Trek, but now it's going to be Star Trek and Doctor Who. And it's funny, we were doing a lot of Star Trek lately, and a bunch of you Doctor Who were like, screw Star Trek, talk about Doctor Who. I love you guys. I believe me, I will. We'll talk about both. There's plenty of time to talk about both. It's Star Wars that's kind of fallen by the wayside, and I actually have a video that I want to put out someday.
It's dropped off the face of the earth.
That's pretty much what my video is about. It's like it broke the Access Media so badly that they all they can do is write about the fandom menace now, which is like okay.
Well, what amazes me, just nobody cares about Star Wars anymore. It went from relevant to irrelevant in the course of a week.
It did. It just it really fell out there, and you know what? That's the one I'll say. We told you so. I'll say we told you so. We told you this would happen once you were done with your little Disney trilogy. All you're left with now is a baby Yoda, a cute little thing that's a distraction. That's not enough to carry $1 billion franchise to the future.
Yeah. They didn't have the foresight to even make anything.
No, it's the advantage. Exactly. The advantage of having a franchise is you have a built-in audience. That means you have some guaranteed income. Now they have to build everything from scratch. So you might as well just invent something new. You don't want to have to license all that crap, but whatever. And same thing's going to happen to Doctor Who and Star Trek. A fat Gandalf for $4.99. We're going to say big boned Gandalf. Fat guy. We don't want to fat shame Gandalf. He's been very comfortable. You hang out in the Shire too long. You eat a little bit too much of that Shire food, you're going to gain a couple pounds. Gary, can we burn effigies of Chibnall before the 5th of November? Sure. Absolutely. I'm going to put that video of him criticizing writing in front of every single one of my Doctor Who videos now, where he's all,
Yes.
it's just bad writing. That little, whatever the hell he did at the end there. 200-watt studio for $5. Chibnall is so damn lazy. The police box TARDIS didn't exist until Hartnell doesn't even understand the fans. We know everything. And the fans do.
It doesn't care. It doesn't give us. I was going to swear them, but I won't.
Oh, I have already done it. So go right ahead.
Sorry, I don't think I've ever heard you swear, so that was the first.
Yeah.
I don't swear very often. But I swore today. I was very angry.
Good. Get it out. Let it out. TM Martin for $2. Hail Gary Beekler, GB, or Great Britain. Maybe Great Britain. How much do you think Barrowman got paid? I think a lot. He's been begging to come back, and they denied it. I don't know why. He's been wanting to come back since he left, and I bet you they came crawling back to him. And listen, Barrowman's he's a biatchy little queen. He was probably going, you're gonna have to pay me now. Mm-hmm. And I hope he did. I hope he did. He had to dye his hair black again. I saw him at Comic-Con this year. He was going up an escalator, getting ready to do anything goes with John Barrowman, which is probably the best panel at Comic-Con. It's funny, and his hair was gray, just totally gray.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize him at first, but we chatted a little bit on the escalator. He was in his little American flag sequence shorty shorts. He looked fabulous, and he was perfectly nice. He was a totally cool dude.
Well, aside from the hair, he doesn't look bad for being 52. I'm like, he looks probably younger than I do.
Yeah, he looks
got
great.
amazing legs. He has amazing legs. He's better than man.
He's got a pair. Yeah, God, he's only 2 years older than I am. I'm old. The Kelvington for $5 says is just laughing, and that's all you can do, Kelvington.
Yeah.
It's either laugh or rage. Yell at a cloud. I don't know. Sean Kesey for £2. Finally, a good episode. Don't care what gender. Was it a good episode?
No, it was a mess. It was what Chibs has been doing a lot lately, is cramming a bunch of things almost disconnected or roughly connected into the same episode. Look at the way Captain Jack was included. It's like that was a very awkward appearance, and then he's gone. Or the Judoon, who I guess were kind of a MacGuffin, but yeah, their inclusion was just awkward. So it's a bunch of crap jammed into one episode, trying to get viewers. That's how I see it.
And it was just another bunch of recycled ideas. The Judoon didn't do anything new. It was the same gags. The force field thing reminded me of the 11th Hour with the Atraxia when they put that force field over the Earth. It was boring, really.
No, it was. You're right. It was a mess. It was a lot like Star Trek Picard and The Fall of Skywalker. Let's throw a bunch of shit at them, and it'll go really fast. And they don't think. Unfortunately, this episode didn't go fast. So, I only watched it once, but the Judoon were hired for a contract to get a fugitive. Obviously, this fugitive was the Doctor. Why? Did we ever hear a why? A single why?
No. That's coming later with some mind-blowing explanation that Chibs is going to pull out of his ass.
Who was that other Time Lord? Was it an ex or something? I mean, there was something like sexual going on between those two.
It did just look like they were just having a domestic.
Yeah. See, so listen.
Yeah, she
all
was
women
working.
are gay now.
Working for the Time Lords. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what they have to do. Every time they put anytime something goes female centric, it automatically goes woke, and you're all gay. Which I mean, listen, again, that's a pretty sexist point of view on it because there's a lot of guys like that stuff. Why do you think people watch Batwoman? I'm sure it has nothing, anything to do with the attractive women making out with each other occasionally. Nothing at all. I'm sure it's for the statements and the messaging, and the themes, as Mahler would say, the themes. No, and listen, that's fine. I've always liked Captain Jack. I've always known what he was. He was a character that was groundbreaking a decade ago, and now it's just, I don't know who you're trying to impress. This is all part of Doctor Who, but yeah, it was all sexual. It seemed very like a lover spat that was going on, which is okay. Give me some. There was no context to anything. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is like they just shit happened to remind you that their Doctor Who used to be good, but we're going to put more women in it for some reason because there's never been a female presence in Doctor Who before Bowles Trek.
Nope, never. Even though the original 4-member cast was an equal divide of 50-50.
Yeah. And the whole point is like you're doing this to a show that you actually were getting some of your messages across in a much better way 10 years ago. Now you're losing people because you think you're actually doing it better, but you're doing it worse, so much worse.
Yes. It was sad to see Jack look so tired. He didn't bring anything new to it. And if you notice, he did the exact same thing with Ryan as he did with Mickey with the Captain Cheesecake dialogue. It was just exactly the same. Except Mickey and Jack did it better.
Well, I think that the one thing, because I'm assuming Captain Jack will be back later this season. One interesting contrast will be the way Captain Jack was written in the RTD era, because right off the bat, we learned within the first 2 minutes that Captain Jack is bisexual because he's hitting on his soldier friend and smacking him in the ass, and then hitting on Rose 2 minutes later. But here's the thing, Chibs and Batwoman people. Captain Jack's character was never based around his sexuality. It was part of his character, but it wasn't really central to who he was. And I think one thing that contrasts to the way things are portrayed now, look at when Yanto dies in Children of Earth. I think that's one of the most heartbreaking scenes in Doctor Who history. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it was two men. It had to do with the fact that it was well written. We understood these characters. We understood Captain Jack. When you have modern characters like that in 2019, 2020, I use Batwoman as the perfect example. They are their sexuality and nothing else. So, yeah, that's, there's so, you can use Doctor Who, RTD era Doctor Who as an example of how to do so many things right. Because yes, all the inclusivity, which they call now inclusivity, but it's really exclusivity. Yeah. But the inclusivity in the RTD era it was genuinely a show for everyone. And there were jokes at the time, and I never agreed with this, where they called it the quote gay agenda. I'm like, no, it was, he covered everybody equally. And also keep in mind that RTD himself, he's a gay man. So he was writing things from his own perspective. That's how this should be done. That's not how it's done anymore. It takes one side and belittles the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you said. It's excluding. And Doctor Who never felt like that. It felt so genuine in RTD's hands and in the early days with Moffat, Yep. And of course the classic era. We won't forget that, but it was built as something else. The new era of Doctor Who was supposed to be faster action. There's a little bit of romance because that's how the show evolved. I know some classic people hate it, and that's your prerogative. That's fine. But I didn't. I thought it leveled up perfectly, and they really could have kept that going. They really did screw. They broke something that they fixed something that wasn't broken. Let's get back to the super chats. Eric K, just take a moment for Kobe Bryant, RIP. We'll do that towards the end, Eric. And Kobe is not without controversy either, especially if you're aware of what he went through back in the day. But still, I mean, I'm so yeah. This I felt that one. That was so young and still had his whole life ahead of him. Yeah. Father Christopher Miller for $2. This is a father saying, "Screw screw this doctor." no, no fornicating way.
That's brilliant.
Oh my God, I gotta show this off. Hang on, so it's special. Father, do I need to take confession with you? There we go. I'm gonna show you're gonna see all the analytics and stuff, folks. It's sorry to bore you with this, but yes, right there. Screw this doctor, no fornicating way. The internet is forever, Father Christopher Miller. Oh, I love it. Mark C for $5. I refuse to watch Doctor Who Cares. Thanks for taking the bullet. You're welcome, Mark C. And thanks for watching us, man. You're Mark C's longtime supporter. Comic knowledge is second to none. I was so impressed with your comic knowledge. I just draw, and yours is 100%. Check your DM and send me a PO box. I will absolutely do that, and we will discuss Cheddar. Thank you, Mark C. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews for £5. There was not such a thing as Time Lords or Gallifrey in 1963. So I think they broke canon in 1966 at the end of the War Games. Well, I think the canon acts retroactively.
Yeah, well, it has been built backwards in certain ways, but because keep in mind, in 1963, this wasn't supposed to be about we didn't even know Gallifrey wasn't even a thing then. Neither was regeneration. So canon has been built as it goes along. So with regeneration, it was because William Hartnell was gravely ill. You can see that in his later episodes. So they had to come up with a vehicle to deal with that, which ultimately ended up being regeneration. And then regeneration occurred again with John Pertwee when Patrick Troughton was leaving, so they decided to try it again, and obviously that's established canon. So you can forgive things from the 1960s that don't entirely add up to what's happening within current years of Doctor Who, but there are certain things that are now taken as canon. The 13 regenerations was established in the Deadly Assassin. So that's really where that comes from. So anything after 1976, which is when that episode first aired, the 13 regeneration cycle has to be canon. So, and there's the scene in the brain of Morbius where I guess that wouldn't even work with this current era either, where we see early regenerations. We do see faces, which are the production team at the time, but it's not really made clear whether or not that is the Doctor or whether that's Morbius. So that is debatable. But there's certain things now in 2020 with 57 years of established canon. And keep in mind, John Pertwee, when he was the Doctor, said that he had been around for thousands of years. That was later changed. So there are inconsistencies in the early show, especially with the first three Doctors. But really, Doctor Who lore, the canonized version, started with the Tom Baker era. And it's accepted as this is the way it is. So to start rewriting things now is, it's just lazy. I don't know what Chibs' aim is, whether it's to get more viewers, which you'll get more viewers out of horror for one episode, or I think it's more just to push his agenda. And the fact that he cast this new pre-regeneration Doctor in the way he did was yet another middle finger to the fans and daring us, okay, I dare you criticize this casting choice because you are the ist and ism words that we get called repeatedly. And sorry, Chibs, I'm going to call you out. And it has nothing to do with the race or gender of your new canon breaking Doctor. It has to do with why you did it, the reasons you did it. And it's clear that Chibs wants to put his stamp on this show. And it's true because all the merchandising, just as an example, has the current Chibs era logo. That hasn't been done before since Chibs took over, because both RTD and Stephen Moffat, when you look at Big Finish, when you look at the books, when you look at the DVD Blu-ray releases, the old 1996 logo, which originally was the John Pertwee logo, was the accepted logo for anything pre-current or anything pre-new series. And yeah, see right there. And Chibs, as part of an ego trip, has decided that his logo is going to co-opt everything. And every time I look at one of those Blu-ray sets, which I'd been waiting to come up for a decade, or which I've been waiting to come out for a decade, have to be staring at me with that logo. So a lot of this is an ego trip with Chibs. You know, I've talked to people online who knew Chibs growing up and have known him personally, and apparently he's somewhat arrogant and probably not the nicest of people. But that's just rumor, so I'm not saying anything, you know, specific. But yeah, from what I can tell, this is all an ego trip, and it's also, and this is with the woke ideologues, and mainly with the white male woke ideologues. This whole thing is a mission to show how much better they are than the rest of us. And the fact that the BBC has always been an elitist institution, owing more towards, you know, because Britain has always been a class society, so originally based on the upper class, but now it's the upper class getting woke points to try and show how much better they are than everyone else, and throwing everybody else under the bus. Because if you are a straight white male and you're not part of the 1 to maybe 5% in the UK, you don't matter. You are scum. You are the scum we are speaking to. So that's where all this comes from.
Yep.
Yeah.
I cannot add anything to that. Harumph. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Doctor for. Oh, sorry. Go on. Starry. You want to say something?
I was saying it just more proof that Chibnall's a hack. I mean, I don't understand why we can't just have 11 episodes of just basic adventures. He's got to tinker and mess about, and
which would have helped Jodie so much more if you'd have just come out and made it Doctor Who, made it fun, thrilling, give us some, get some old writers. Again, I always bring up, where are all the old classic Doctor Who writers, the all-timers? Why aren't they lining up to write for the first female Doctor? Where are the Neil Gaimans of the world? Why isn't Stephen Moffat offering to write an episode? Why isn't Russell T Davies coming back? The reason being is because they know this is a gimmick. They don't want to be part of it. The silence from so many is deafening. And when they're asked directly, of course, they're going to ask, you know, I believe like Tennant, he's friends with Jodie, so I believe him when he says it. But others have been very quiet about it. Very quiet.
As somebody who got the honor of being able to speak to Peter Capaldi for a few minutes last summer at the Fan Expo in Toronto, and I'm someone where I read body language pretty well, and you could tell this is a guy that loves his fans. We were, my friend Tony and I, we were in line for probably about 3 hours, and just hearing him talk about it. But when the question of his leaving Doctor Who or anything like that came up, you could tell in his eyes that it's a painful subject for him. So Peter Capaldi, you know, he's the exact opposite of Malcolm Tucker in real life. He would never speak out publicly against Jodie Whittaker, but you can tell there is some anger going on there, but we never hear it. Matt Smith doesn't really talk about the show much at all anymore from what I've seen. David Tennant seems to be very silent. Christopher Eccleston, well, he actually did come out in support of the female Doctor recently, and that article was cringeworthy. But all the other writers, most of the old Doctors, aside from, unfortunately, Colin Baker, are largely silent on this. They'll give token respect to it. But yeah, it's, well, even Big Finish. And let's take a moment of silence for Nicholas Briggs, who is also in this episode, because he voices everything. So he's the voice of the Judoon. Even Nicholas Briggs seems to be staying out of it. And I haven't heard it myself, but from talking to other podcasters, he has his own podcast. And he always dodges the question. And in the extras on Big Finish audios, I haven't listened to all of them, but I haven't heard it addressed at all. And apparently on one of his podcasts, he came out and said he can't comment on Doctor Who because he's directly involved with it. So kind of sidestepping it, and I can't see, he would never be one to come out and attack the fans, because if he did, Big Finish would be done in 6 months, because that's where all the alienated fans have gone. But yeah, it's like the silence speaks volumes. The silence is screaming.
It's interesting. Last October, when I went to that Russell T Davies thing and I got to meet him, it never came up. No mention of Jodie or anything.
And that is, yeah, it was a great picture you took with him too. You guys,
that was my proudest moment.
Yeah.
He's
You've
tall.
gotten your picture
Isn't
with everybody this year.
he tall? Isn't
He's really
big?
tall.
Yeah.
He's,
All right, let's get to some super chats. That was a great picture, though. You should retweet that. Nicholas Horton for £5 says Series 11 action figures releasing in February, confirmed by BBC. Dr. Nasty, TARDIS, Recon, Dalek, and Graham. Graham figure looks terrible. Yeah, I saw them. They all look terrible. The Dalek, these are the first ones I'm not going to buy. I have every single figure produced by what do you guys call them over there? Character options or whatever.
Yeah.
I own customs. I own the master figures, the prototype figures they come out with that are multicolored. Anyone I see, I buy. I have every single one. Not buying those. The last one I bought, I did buy Bill. I bought Bill. That was the last one, new one. Now I get of course I got the stuff that's oh my God, what's the name of your shop over there? That has the exclusive, starts with the B. I can't remember now.
B&M.
B&M. Yeah. It's a retail. We don't have retail stores here anymore, pretty much. I got all the exclusives for those. Those were pretty damn cool. The Fandom Menace should come to Cardiff to protest, says the Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews for £5. I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there by myself.
I'm hoping to get there as well, so I can meet you all.
That's awesome. That would be great. We'll see if I can get anybody to come along with me. Right now it's a family trip, so, and it might stay that way. It depends on, Mrs. Nerdrotic. But we'll see. She gets back tomorrow, I think. I think she's in a plane. She's in Japan right now. Yeah.
Oh,
John?
I have to clarify something that I was just doing some research. So yes, there is a Series 12 Blu-ray.
Oh,
it's being released in the UK on March 16th, 2020. It's not actually even listed on Amazon.ca, which it normally would be by now. It is listed on Amazon.com with no release date, so it means that it could be canceled. But I would assume this is going to be a limited run, because we don't have exact figures, but I'm pretty sure Warner lost a lot of money on those unsold Series 12 or Series 11 DVDs and Blu-rays. So
they did.
Interesting to see.
They did. And I know Blu-rays are your thing. I love physical media, and you were one of my inspirations to go out and get all the old classic stuff on DVD, which I did. And I bought a region-free DVD player. And I used to pre-master Blu-rays and DVDs for Technicolor. I used to make menus and stuff like that. Worked on a lot of stuff. And I can say it's easier to make a Blu-ray. They're bigger. You have to do less compression. You have to compress DVDs. It's insane, the levels of compression you have to go through, and then all the stuff you have to do to fit it on such a small disc. But DVDs sell better throughout the world. The entire world did not catch on to Blu-ray players, unfortunately. So you're right. There will be a limited edition, and Blu-rays will go by the wayside, folks. Especially for TV shows. Fox has already stopped producing them. We will never get an Orville Blu-ray, which sucks. Maybe that changes with the Disney stuff. But right now, I talked to a producer on the show, Tom Constantino, and they're like, yeah, we want Blu-rays. It's out of their hands. So, which is too bad. John Ellis Bush for £4.99. Seriously, did they just retcon everything? This makes story of Matt Smith's last episode completely redundant. Wow, it does. And I'm already pissed enough because I thought that was going to be so cool. The last question, Doctor Who. The end of that episode was so good, and it just ended up being Translord, Christmas Town, but still, I enjoyed it, and it's much better than what we're getting now. And yeah, it makes it all redundant. And I mean,
so that's two things. Moffat's is retcon. He's retcon Gallifrey and everything Matt Smith's arc. So thanks a lot, Judoon.
I'm so pissed about Gallifrey. I can't tell you how pissed I am about Gallifrey. Rassilon is still out there though, so that might play into this.
You could play the drinking game. How many times has Chibs destroyed canon in just 5 episodes?
Yeah, right. And they'll bring back Rassilon. He'll be the toxic male that he is.
Do you think the lady Time Lord might be Rassilon, the evil one? I think Rassilon, it might be the Ronnie. Although, to be honest, nobody knew who would have any idea who the Ronnie was. Yep. She was in only 2 stories, and neither of them were that great. Or is this yet another incarnation of the Doctor? Because I have a feeling it might be going that way as well.
Yep. Or the Valiard, but I thought that for like a nanosecond. That I'm like, nah, it wouldn't work because they couldn't portray women as evil. Well, maybe they could if there was another woman there to counteract it. Another woman. The Talons of Wang Chang for £5. So glad my headcanon is 1963 to 1996. I've always treated New Who as an alternate timeline Doctor Who. Anyway, I'll stick with watching the classic Doctors. See, and I said they're out there, and I don't blame you, but I'm good till the 50th anniversary. That's where that's a good stopping point, or a little season 8. I've gone back and revisited season 8 after I heard my good friend Bolstrek here talking so highly about it. I'm like, because I'd only watched it once all the way through.
Yeah.
And I went back and watched it except for 2 episodes. I'm sorry, that's not true.
We know which ones.
Yeah, you know which ones. Yes. But the other ones I didn't. And yeah, it's good. It's not great, but we can end it there, and that's fine. I have reviews of those episodes on my website, by the way. Mark,
sorry, Guy, can I just interrupt you a minute? They're doing a showing at the British Film Institute of the Tellings of Wang Chang because of the Blu-ray that's coming out, and afterwards there's going to be a panel with some of the people involved, and there's going to be a big discussion about racism because obviously of what was in that at the time. So yeah, they're going to devote time with the cast and the production team to discuss I can't remember how they phrased it, the more controversial aspects of
current year ideology being forced on something from 1976 without any awareness of course now we realize that these things are that is not cool, but did they realize that in 1976? Not really. It was a different time, so they vilify them now.
Yeah, are they going to march them out there and they're just going to have to apologize for an hour? I mean,
yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, poor Philip Hinchcliffe, because obviously they can't bring Robert Holmes out anymore. But yeah, they'll bring 80-year-old Philip Hinchcliffe out and sit him down and yell at him. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, don't. And yeah, we're now attacking the golden age of Doctor Who.
Yep,
those 3 seasons, which Tom Baker's first 3 seasons are the best Doctor Who has ever gotten and ever will get. So yeah, let's tear that apart. Why don't I don't know, they could why not tear apart the Deadly Assassin, which is my favorite Doctor Who episode at the same time because it's patriarchal.
Man, you could look at the whole series that way. And they do. And that's the nefarious part of this is they are trying to go after our old pop culture, and you know who they are. Okay. Yep. They are the elitist elements who want to be the ones who want to shape our minds, to use these things as political platforms. And you can't do that if some of the early stuff was problematic. So what you do is you undo it. And they still think people are going to sit around and watch this stuff. That's the thing, is they think they have this guaranteed audience, and you've been whittling away at it over the years, and it's going to be nothing very soon. Very soon, it's going to be forgettable. I think it's there with the general public. Doctor Who is nothing anymore. Most people are checked out of the show. Like the vast majority. Yeah. We are now stuck with the hardest of the hardcores and partisan true believers, which neither are good enough to keep a franchise around. And then it just becomes a little show. Maybe that's all they want. Maybe they're just tired of having a franchise. Maybe it was too much for the BBC. Neon Visual for £2. The "you can do better" cake wasn't kidding. It wasn't. No, the fact that at least Graham said it wasn't. Was it Graham who said it was an awful looking cake? And then he just disappears onto
nothing the entire episode,
which was a TARDIS, right? I mean, it looked like
TARDIS,
yeah. Jack was in a TARDIS that had the nanobot securities. And why did he say, "Oh, it's always the nanobots"? Kind of calling back to I think
the empty child. Yeah.
Yes, the empty child. I was brain farting there. And are they constantly after him now? And are they going to kill Captain Jack? I mean, these are the things that go through my head. It's like, he's a male character. They probably have to kill him in the end. Yeah, I could see maybe they get like 9 or 10 female doctors, like that whole regeneration cycle to take on the toxic male Rassilon. These are things, again, we can predict the woke plots in Doctor Who when we probably wouldn't be wrong. Tell the fans at the Super Bowl to say screw the BBC. Ask Doctor Who 14 Blu-ray reviews. Because my home team is going to the Super Bowl. I won't be going to the sports ball event that my local team, which isn't really that local, they're actually 50 miles away, are going to the big sports ball game. Your kids should watch Blue Peter, an educational kids show. My kids are too old for that show now. My kids are like, one of them's an adult.
Does that still even exist?
Yeah,
I
don't think so.
Still,
is it
probably woke too?
It's not as good as it used to be now. My kids watch it sometimes.
If anybody's looking for a good laugh, I just took a look at my Twitter feed. Holy shit! Oh wow, they love me out there. My whole fan club is here. This is awesome.
Is it the Rain Bowls Trek?
The Rainbow Hate Mob. Yeah. It's and some channels that I won't mention any names, but some channels that used to be very critical of this era that seem to love it now, which I find mind-boggling. But yeah, if you want to jump on the train, go ahead. It's a free world.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's there's been a few of them that for some reason have switched around, and some of them are calling this episode the best thing ever. I'm like, well, okay. Like I said, you do you, and I'll just make fun of you. I support freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean I can't make fun of you.
Yeah. That's just what my good friend Doomcock calls hypnosis. Listen, I was happy to see him when I saw him. I was like, oh, Jack. And then I'm like, well, they brought him back in this. Then I immediately got pissed. Yeah, like, it was like a roller coaster. And my oldest son was watching it, and he's like, "Oh, Jack's back," and I'm like, "Fuck, yay, no, what?" It's and honestly, the only thing that I could, the only positive I can take was the other female doctor was better. That's it. She made Jodie look small and bad.
And she told her to shut up and be quiet. That was quite a good one.
It really was. Gary, you liking House on HBO's Avenue 5? I haven't watched it yet. TM Martin for $2. I need to watch it. It looked very Hitchhiker to me, but I'm just wary of HBO now. I just had a very bad experience with Watchmen. Which, listen, Bulls Trek some people loved. I'm like, I don't, maybe I'm just losing touch, or maybe I don't know what's good or bad anymore, or maybe I was right because the show got canceled. So,
see, I refuse to watch that. Well, luckily, I have to pay extra money to our crappy streaming service for an extra $10 a month just to watch The Watchmen. So I have, I didn't watch it. I laughed at the reviews, and I'm like, I can only handle so much bad crap at once. And I was deep in woke Batman at the time, so that was enough for me.
yeah, and well, that's cool because you were able to cover Batwoman because I stopped because I can't. I was right there with you. I'm like, I can't do Watchmen and Batwoman at the same time. My freaking brain will melt.
I didn't watch either. I just listened to your reviews with Doomcock.
Yeah.
And your reviews on Batwoman.
Yeah, no, I was like, Bulls Trek has this. This is great. And I'll do Watchmen, and I'll be called horrible things, and so are my family. That was the worst part about it. It's like I got very personal emails, like really going after my family. Yeah, it was beautiful. Really was.
I get those from Doctor Who. Well, the funny thing is, when I did Batwoman, I think that's the only franchise I've covered where I really didn't get much hate. In fact, almost none. I think maybe it's because of the way I covered it, but I'm like, I figured going after this show would garner me the most hate, but nope. I get hate from Doctor Who. I get hate from Star Wars. Got a lot of hate for going after the Terminator. So it's odd. It's the way people go. Although, like I said, I continue as I'm looking at this to get I'm getting so much love on Twitter today. Just
are you? I'm gonna go over and check in a second. You poor guy.
I'm used to this.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't see it now. I think they hate you more than they hate me. Sorry.
Well, they hate the Drekkies hate you more than they hate me. So it's like everybody has their own special. I hate the word, but I'll say target of anger. So for Doctor Who, for some reason, people are calling me young Ian Levine. So I guess after he left Doctor Who, I became him. It seems to be you and Mecha Random seem to get it the worst from the Trekkies, and Jeremy seems to get it the worst from the Star Wars fans.
He really does. And from people who from the Fandom Menace love late. Yeah, poor Jeremy. Cancel Jeremy, by the way. Yeah, you are getting it, dude.
Oh yeah. You just took a look. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm not. I'm still getting it from Star Trek people. Wait, hey, Drekkies.
Well, you'll be seeing mine because you were tagged in one of my posts, so you're seeing those. But yes. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, guys, if you want the goat to come out at some point the next few weeks.
Yeah, I want the goat. Yes, that is a definite yes.
The goat just needs to find time to make a video.
I think Bulls Trek needs to be sick. I think you're coming down with something. You can't go into work tomorrow.
Yeah. Except at the moment I'm working from home, so it's
that's you can't call you can't do that then.
I'm only working at home for another 2 weeks, so yeah. Then after that, I can use that response. Yeah, I'll use all this bank sick time I haven't used. I think I've got like 2 months worth.
Oh Jesus, yeah. This might be the time. This is an important video. We need to hear from Bulls Trek on this one. We do.
Probably, and if anyone's asking, probably will not be until tomorrow or Tuesday, but it will be up. Originally, it wasn't going to be out until Friday or Saturday because I have to go to town for work this week. But I'm going to rush it and just give up sleep.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. After the Inquisition, I'm going to have to make it, and my voice will be fried. But I'll still, I have no time. It'll have to be tonight. Best Modern Doc spinoff is the Sarah Jane Adventures, says Ma Brown 666 for £2. Yes, it was. I loved the Sarah Jane Adventures, and I love Sarah Jane Smith. She was a classy lady. Sorry, she's gone. So young, by the way. Jody Bowie for $2. I love Torchwood. Cyberwoman aside, I loved it. When the Cyberwoman episode came out, I just thought it was so weird. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was weird. It was very, very weird episode, but not great. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews for £5 more. You lot should watch Gavin and Stacey, the most watched show on BBC on BBC One on Christmas Day. What's Gavin and Stacey, Starry?
It's a sitcom. It's really funny. James Corden's in it. He kind of made his name in that, before he moved to America.
Okay, so it's an older show then.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it did really well. It had quite a long break, and then they were reunited, the cast, for this Christmas special, and it broke records on Christmas Day and on iPlayer.
Oh yeah, aren't they getting? I think HBO. Somebody's getting Friends back together. If they get back together, that'll be. I mean, I never watched a single second of that show, but that would be the biggest thing over here ever. If that
was
does
rumored
happen.
on, I think, Netflix like 5 years ago, though Netflix is losing the rights. I am assuming for the Peacock streaming service, which is NBC,
Yeah.
Guarantee if they want to actually be successful, unlike other streaming services, CBS, that would be a great way to start. So yeah, no, they launched that with a Friends relaunch, which I think is stupid because I'm tired of remakes and reboots and sequels, and I wouldn't watch it anyway. But that's one way to do it. Or hey, bring back The Office.
Yeah. Absolutely. By the way, folks, The Witcher, if you're a fan of The Witcher, is like it killed for Netflix. It saved Netflix. Like it's such a fucking massive hit. It's ridiculous, and it was watched. There's people out there debating on whether what was watched more, The Mandalorian or The Witcher. The Witcher.
Yeah, their sub bleeding is apparently lost or tapered off. So they actually they perform better in the last quarter than anybody thought.
Yep. And they have like 14 times the subscribers that Disney Plus has. Is it 14 times? I think they have 140 million to Disney Plus's reported 10 million. So I mean, just do the maths. More people watch The Witcher than Mandalorian. Numb, R.I.P. Doc, you will be missed. Scottish nerd for £2. Yeah. I was a little numb. I was. I was at a loss for words before we started the live stream, and I'm never at a loss for words. Bourbon Sherbet for $5. Just hopped in to say that I found where Doctor Who went. The new Disney DuckTales remake is more Doctor Who than Doctor Who is. It even has David Tennant. That's true. The Loki series is going to essentially be Doctor Who, and that will be better probably. He's going to have his Tesseract going through time and trying to fix things that he screwed up. Doctor Who. I bet you he'll even have a female companion. I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Randy G. Tom Hiddleston would be a good doctor, but he's white, so that ain't happening. £2. Main villain, a doctor, tries to shoot, dies, regeneration. Yeah, why didn't the other Time Lord regenerate when she shot the gun?
She wasn't a Time Lord. She was from Gallifrey, but she wasn't a Time Lord.
Oh, she wasn't a Time Lord. Okay, she was from Gallifrey.
She was working.
So she was just an operative. Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that part. Chumley 73 for $10. Subtlety versus overt political writing. Terrence Dix said that during the Pertwee era, everyone was left wing. Could you tell? The closest to propaganda was the Green Death. Now, no freaking talent at all. Yeah, I mean, I never saw the Green Death as propaganda, but I mean, I can see how some people maybe could. I don't know.
Well, it's I sorry to interrupt, Gary. Just
no, go ahead.
Here. The Green Death. Keep in mind, now we're going back to 1973.
Yeah.
So here's the difference between environmental issues now is how they're covered in Chibs the Idiot's era versus how they were covered then. So with the Green Death, obviously environmentalism, it was still a new concept at the time, and there was a little bit of risk in bringing that into Doctor Who. But you have to look at the way environmentalism was portrayed in the Green Death to the way it is right now, where you did not have John Pertwee giving a self-righteous speech at the end of the episode the way we did with Jodie Whittaker at the end of Orphan 55. It also didn't really take on it actually did look at both sides of the issue, because you had environmentalism, but then you had the Brigadier representing the other side of the conversation as well. So that's how this would have been covered almost 50 years ago, without lecturing, presenting the issue as it is versus what we had 2 weeks ago. Well, yeah, and if you look at left-wing ideology, yes, everybody was left-wing, and the BBC has always been left-wing.
Yep.
But left wing doesn't mean what it always did. Whereas what the left used to be was the representative of the little people, those without power. Now the left, that version of the left, so the left that may have controlled Doctor Who and the BBC back in the 60s or 70s, that no longer exists anywhere. That left has been stamped out. What the left now stands for is identity politics and hating straight white males. If you look at any far left party in the world, that's their platform. And I'm like, good God, just look at our prime minister. But yeah, so it's when you say left, you almost have to divide it where, yes, you have pre 2010s left and post 2010s left. So comparing the and people keep doing this, and it's something that I'm sick of seeing in my comments, but you can't compare the Green Death and Orphan 55 because the way it was done was completely different, and what the left represents in both of those stories is also completely different.
Yes. That's a disingenuous argument from the beginning, because that what Bolstrek just said, that left doesn't exist anymore. It's what people are calling classic liberal. I mean, that even goes before classic liberal. Yep. That's why I don't like to blanketly generalize the left, because I mean, you guys know this. I'm just saying this for the crowd. That a large portion of my audience and Bolstrek audience is left. So that's not the issue. It's not a right and left issue. I don't play those games personally. I'm an issue person by the issue.
Yeah.
So I think a lot more people are becoming that, which is good. And that's why a lot of this is because we're just seeing two sports teams battling. That's all this is. This is like, let me root for my tribe or whatever. And making a villain out of any group is dangerous. It's dangerous. It straight up is. And making it okay. I worry about my youngest son who goes to school here in San Francisco. And I know the curriculum they teach that he's going to be seen as a villain when he's just this nice, innocent kid. But we see adults broadly generalizing out there, and that's where the kids are going to learn it. And that's what sucks. That's why there's certain entertainment they should really think about this before they do that, because it becomes very divisive in a hyper divisive time. And that's where entertainment can be the cure for that. It can be the escapism for that. They can be the ones that help heal, but they don't want to. They want to play the game. They want to perpetuate it. That's the problem. Doctor Who has never participated in that. Doctor Who was there to, just like Star Trek, they used allegory a lot, and it's helpful. Although one of my favorite writers hated it in all forms, Tolkien, but I like it, and I like it in science fiction, and I liked it in Doctor Who. To quote Fred Johnson from the Expanse novels, my politics have not changed. They have changed around me. And that's, I think, how a lot of Doctor Who fans feel right now.
I like whenever I take a political compass test, I always come either slightly center right or center left, more center right the older I get. But my basic political beliefs are the same as they were 20 years ago. But I think one thing that's funny is, and I don't characterize all young people like this, but a few years ago, they were saying Generation Z was supposed to be the most conservative generation in history, which I called BS on it at the time. And unfortunately, and again, I don't speak for all of them, but I'm speaking for a lot of them. This is actually the brainwashed generation. These are kids that grew up with smartphones. They've grown up with social media. Millennials grew up with the internet, but Gen Z grew up with social media, and they were the generation that have been brainwashed in school. And even as I'm looking at the love I'm getting on my little Twitter feed right here, I can see that a lot of them look to be in their late teens or early 20s. So, and shows like Doctor Who have helped enable this, because it is a generation of brainwashed kids. And this isn't coming from the millennials anymore, because they have gotten older. You know, life experience will remove the wokeness from you very quickly. But it's and you know, I don't have kids myself, but I have two young nephews who are 6 and 8, and what they're being taught in Canadian schools is absolutely horrific. They're being taught to hate themselves. And now, because this generation is now in their early 20s, and again, not all of them, but a lot of them are in their early 20s, you can see the brainwashing, and you can see in the way they speak, in the way they write. It's the same things over and over again. Maybe the wording might be a little bit different, but no understanding of how the world works. And unfortunately, this is the world that we're getting into. And like every generation, they will have a reality check when they get older. And like, look at the baby boomers. They were the peace and love generation and then became the baby boomers. Our age group is the only one that hasn't really changed because we've been cynical from the time we were teenagers, and we're still cynical now. But I do fear when I see what's going on with young people.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. My boys, they're 7 and 11, and I'm already worrying about them. You know what it's going to be like when they're young men. And we've had a delightful advert. Some artists have been doing these big screens where it's been saying men are dangerous. So we've got that on billboards across the nation at the moment.
Yeah, and that's just sort of saying generally. I mean, this is going to, for one, they're trying to vilify a chemical that we are born with, that we can do nothing about. It's the very definition of bigotry and racism. And for one, there's nothing wrong with it. And my son recently had to write a paper on his privilege, and his privilege. Not every kid in the class had to write that paper, just my kid. So me and that teacher had a little talk about how my son with Asperger's has privilege, how he's so privileged. Yeah, fuck that. I mean, the teacher was cool enough. I mean, they're just running off a curriculum. They're not all evil. They were open-minded to it when I brought it up. And there's this just false assumption here that everybody's going to drink the Kool-Aid. I am not a Kool-Aid drinker of any party, of any kind. So, and that's what, we had our little discussion. It was fine. And the teacher, again, the teacher was told to do this.
Yeah.
So, Randy G for $2. Main villain. I already write this. Doctor tries to shoot again. Okay. Chumley 73 for $10. I read that one too. Oh, here we go. Dr. 14 Blu-ray Reviews is back for £5. Sci-fi and Star Trek should be preachy, says Jesse Gender, a Star Trek YouTuber who is a transsexual. And yeah, you sent me that yesterday, and my response is the same. Jesse Gender can have her opinion, and that's what this is about. This is what YouTube is about. We can have different opinions. We can debate these opinions. I am not going to call Jesse Gender a name because she has a different opinion than me. But if Jesse Gender starts calling me names and telling me I'm not allowed to have my opinion about a show, that's when we have a problem. I'm not saying that I've never heard of Jesse Gender. So again, Jesse's free to say whatever you want. I don't go after other YouTubers, period. We're all on this platform together.
Yep.
Roger Malone for 10 Canadian dollars. Is this live? Did I catch a live stream? I have to say that the new Doctor Who was just a little, who am I kidding? A lot too preachy for me, says Roger. Yes, it is. It's a lot too preachy, and it didn't used to be that way, and it sucks. Unbelievable, Gary. I might be out in Cali in March. Rosetta Allen, let me know. And if you're anywhere near, we will have some coffee. And hello, and thank you for the $2, Rosetta. You are awesome. Alex Hawker for £1.99. Maybe Ruth Doctor is from a parallel universe. That's a possibility. That's one of the things that crossed my mind. And they did drop a parallel universe hint in Spyfall. They kind of brushed past it, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a possibility, yeah. But I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any logic or reason to Chibnall's writing anymore. So
No.
We might not ever get an explanation.
And it doesn't make the rumor wrong. Because the rumor, when I reported it, was a possible and listen, again, this has been out there. This has been theorized for a long time. I'm not saying I'm the first one. I just made a video on it a long time ago, or not that long ago, but and it's a possibility we could have multiple sets of regenerations there. And I thought that when we had the Metacrisis Doctor and they were in that other universe, I'm all, does Gallifrey exist? Is there only one Gallifrey for all realities, or is there multiple Gallifreys? I mean, I don't know the answer to that question, but I guess we could find out. There might be multiple Gallifreys. I always just assumed, and again, I haven't read every book and every comic book or listened to every Big Finish, that Gallifrey just kind of existed on its own. But everything is woke now, so I'm done with being preached to, says Roger Malone for Canadian $5. Thank you. And I think all of us are. I think we're kind of fucking done. I mean,
and that's not just us, it's the normies too.
Yes, the normies have been gone for a while, and whoever was hanging, I think some normies came back. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think some normies came back out of the curiosity factor of a female doctor.
Yeah. Well, it's well, I know we all there used to be many friends that I had that watched Doctor Who, and most of them they actually gave up during the Capaldi era, specifically with Series 9. But everybody came back for The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and then for the second episode following that, which was the Amnesia Ghost Monument thing, which actually probably was the most boring episode so far. But after that, they took off again. It's like, okay, this is the female doctor. Let's see what it's like. And oh my God, this is where they're going with this. Okay, I'm gone again. And that's what we
Nobody's talking about it around here. And again, I had loads of friends during the Tennant and Smith era, and now it's just me, which is why I'm on social media all the time.
Yeah. The only thing that comes out of this that's good for me is that to cleanse my palate, I watch Classic Who like immediately after, like when we're done with the live stream here. I'm gonna watch an episode just to remind myself why I love this show. And it's always classic. I don't go back to the new Who. I'll fire up, I don't know, today maybe 5th Doctor episode or something, just to have some fun. Gary, is the new Space Force logo warping in your mind? TM Martin for $2. I love it. I freaking love it. Yes, it looks like the Star Trek logo. Who cares? TM Martin, I think is it warping? I liked it. We showed it on Friday Night Tights. I don't know if you guys saw that the United States government, we officially have a space military now. So
yes, I saw.
Actually, I just pulled it up. That is the Star. They have it right next to the Starfleet.
Yes.
Yeah, and my God, that's borderline plagiarism. Okay, so Starfleet is real.
Yeah, can you sue the federal government for plagiarism was what we asked, and I don't think you can. I think we have the best space logo ever. Little green men will be in fear of our logo. Yes, the universe better be quivering, because here comes our space military, which has been going on for years anyway. They just gave it a name.
All I thought was Starship Troopers. That's the first thing that came to mind.
But the question has to be asked: why now? Why all of a sudden? I mean, we've always had that. Why do we need a space military? Do they know something we don't?
Remember Star Wars in the 1980s, the actual Ronald Reagan Star Wars?
Yes. With
the space laser beams,
the anti-missile defense system.
Yep.
Yes. And they couldn't bust him for that, and they tried. George Lucas was not happy with that. Fat Gandalf for $1.99. Kurtzman, Chibnall, Kennedy, Mina, Kennedy / Mina, a trios from trios from hell. So the mage a trois of the death of a franchise. It's what I call the multi-headed hydra of the franchise apocalypse. And I actually have an image somewhere where I put Kurtzman and Chibnall's and Kennedy's heads on a hydra, and I'll find it again. Tanim 07, welcome to the Jaloja membership. I just did my first membership only live stream yesterday, so you can go watch it. And we will do another one where you can come in and ask me questions, yell at me, tell me where I'm screwing up. It's a Q&A. Roger Malone for $5 Canadian. Women can be great leads in movies, TV shows, web series, but when the SJW culture twists everything to fit their means, it ruins everything. Yep, men or male or female lead in an SJW show will always suck. And my good friend Jeremy pointed out, I mean, the obvious, that the reason they take over established shows is because they can't build anything from scratch. Look at Class. That's a great example.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that was pre-chip.
Yeah. Well, you know, the weird thing about that is they got all the actors back and they've been doing Big Finish stories and they're doing well. They're actually doing, and again, it's because of the writing. I've had really good reviews. I mean, I've not been tempted so far, to get them, but it's just interesting.
I think the concept was there. The thing is, the wokeness just turned people off immediately, and it was the priority. But what they were trying to do, if you aren't familiar, is they were trying to Harry Potter Doctor Who. They were trying to have a class of kids in the Doctor Who universe. Capaldi came in the first episode, and it might have worked but they had a YA author running the show, and YA just does not translate into good TV. It just doesn't.
I managed 4 episodes and then said to hell with this. Although look at when Class aired. Oh, coincidentally, it parallels Series 9. They were on at the same time.
Yep. I mean, I'm not against Doctor. I think they should. Well, not now. When I don't know if it'll ever get better, but if it does get better someday, I would love to see a Torchwood revisited, but not now. Right now, it would be a goddamn nightmare. So, TM Martin for $2. Kobe's. Oh God. I almost should rate to read that one at the end because that one's too sad. TM, I'm going to save that one for the end. Okay. 200-watt studio for $2. Zoe was one of the greatest companions.
Yep. Again, 1960s, strong female character who was a scientist, but doesn't exist.
Nope. Women did not exist before. It was the male gaze, right? Wasn't it just it was all the male gaze?
Yeah.
NK33 for $2. Lita and Romana take up the mantle for the Doctor. What you mean? Maybe that's what those are right now, or in the future. I think I was always for a Romana show. I've said it repeatedly in my videos. I would have watched the hell out of it.
Yep.
If it wasn't woke. Yep. And now I have a figure of her, but I don't think they would really go with Lita these days. But that's just me. Where am I? Chumley 73 for $5. Sorry, I'm trying to do like 9 things at once, guys. Sorry, my apologies. I have raging ADHD. I've got messages coming in on my phone. So it's sorry, I'm a little confused right now.
It's okay. Everything's exploding over here too, so we're in the same boat.
I apologize, folks. I really am looking for some help. I'm looking for a producer. That's a real thing. And if you are interested in the job, all you got to do is email me at GaryNerdrotic.com. You have to kind of be willing to be at my beck and call. It will be a paying gig. You don't have to be in San Francisco, but you have to know YouTube. And I mean, it'd help if I know you already, but you can just email me and we'll see. We'll see. Barbara was a key character. Verite said she was how she used. Okay. Verity said she was how she used her in the show. Watch how important she was. She was the first to meet the Daleks, etc. Yes, Chumleys. That's the one thing. When I didn't watch these things in order back in the day, and I didn't watch it. I mean, I haven't seen all the episodes because they don't all exist. But it wasn't until New Who came around I went back and watched all as many as I could of the first 2 Doctors. I just wasn't that into it. And before, the only way you could watch them here is I don't ever remember seeing them on PBS. I'm sure they showed them, but I don't remember seeing them. so you had to get like VHS. And I would play them in the warehouse where I was working. So it was kind of surprising. I didn't know what to expect when I was watching it. The new Pertwee was on PBS. The Fourth Doctor was on PBS. Fifth Doctor, and I didn't watch much of the Sixth or Seventh, although they did rerun those on PBS at the time, and that was back in the 80s. I was just thinking about that Bulls Trek. So before. I saw Star Trek Picard, and I don't want to spoil things here, but it made me think of the episode Offspring, okay, from TNG, and I'm like, when was the last time I watched that episode? And and it's like, yeah, I've literally forgotten more than I know now.
No, actually, no, that occurred to me as well. Well, yeah, we won't get into spoilers, but in terms of the many inconsistencies with established canon in that episode, watch that and then go watch Offspring or any story involving lore, and you'll see that Kurtzman and friends didn't actually bother watching anything.
No,
this is what happens when you have non-Trekkies running a Star Trek show.
Yeah, and like I mean, I love Star Trek, and I've watched every episode, but it's been years since I've watched some. I mean, decade. So it had been over a decade since I watched Offspring. So I watched it again before I did my review, and God, it was so much better. And these are the a-holes, the people running the show, and the same people running Doctor Who. It's the same thing. Even 5 years ago, it was considered quaint and naive and deliberately paced and shit like that. You hear them saying about the old. No, it had heart. It had so much freaking heart. That's what, and it was fun. And this shit isn't fun. It's basic paint by numbers nihilism. Larry for $2. Sorry, Doctor Who is gone. I rewatched Tom Baker Who. That's the best thing to do, and live long and prosper. Yes. John Smith for $1.99. John Smith, is that really your name? Gary, coronavirus confirmed in California. Stay safe. Yes.
We've had our first case in Canada, so yep. And the doomsday clock has moved up, so we're all screwed.
Oh, yes, about that. Yeah.
Just a reminder that the actual flu has a higher mortality rate than the actual coronavirus. So, but it is airborne. It could go bad. I largely stay in my home. I worry more about my kids than anything. I will try to stay safe, though. Yes, I think it's just a matter of time. So we got to make sure, just, wash your hands. Wash your freaking hands. If you work out at the gym, do what I do. I clean my machine down like I work there, like I'm the cleaning person. I get tons of stuff on my towels, and I clean every inch of that machine before I touch it.
Yep, portable hand sanitizer, my friends.
Yep.
I've always got it on me.
And they're wearing the masks here. I mean, a lot of the Chinese here in San Francisco, not all, a lot of the Asian population wear masks because they're used to wearing it in China, so they just wear it here.
Yeah, and same thing here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more masks. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Also, I'm sorry for harassing you last year about Doctor Who books, says John Smith for $4.99. You don't have to apologize. It's fine. It's fine. And I haven't read all the books. I have a crap load of them. And I don't want to read everything right now. I want to be able to read something new 10 years from now, when Doctor's good, long, and dead, and I'll want to enjoy some good Doctor Who. Michael Moorcock wrote a freaking Doctor Who book, so I'm saving that one. Rebecca Gold for £2. What's up, Rebecca Gold? The great web series.
Hello, my friend.
We need to make a fan film and correct this shit. Yeah, we actually kind of do at this point. I'd get behind that. Stephen Yarnell for $4.99. The BBC is just a salty fart in the wind.
Yep,
they really are. I mean, you kind of win with that statement right there. I agree. 200-watt studio for $5. Captain Jack, can you imagine Han Solo hitting on Luke and then hitting on Leia? Different types of characters, Chibnall. Well, I mean, that's kind of what Captain Jack was, though. He was the bisexual Han Solo, and I like Captain Jack. He's probably my favorite character outside of the Doctor and a couple of companions.
Yeah, I'd put him. I consider him a companion because he's been a companion.
Yeah,
So
I do.
he's in at least my top 5.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so. But it worked because John Barrowman's charisma and presence. It would, I think anybody else playing him, it would have been really irritating. But he's just so lovable. You can't help but like him.
You can't. Yeah, it's impossible to hate Captain Jack, which is why I feel so bad that he's been dragged into this now too.
Yep.
So a word of silence today for Nicholas Briggs and John Bowerman, who were both dragged into this today.
Amen. Jody Bowie for $5. Yanto dying in Jack's arms is such a sad, beautiful moment. I cry every time Children of Earth is on. Peter's part is so emotional as well. Yeah, that was amazing television. I know people give it a lot of shit. Torchwood is one of the most uneven series of all time.
Yeah, and Children of Earth, and it is hard to watch, and it is by far, it had not just one, but at least two of, actually, I wouldn't say two of, the two most heartbreaking scenes in Doctor Who history. And there's the scene at the end as well. Like, it actually is hard to watch. And I watched the whole thing. It came out on Blu-ray 1 week after it was aired in the UK, and I watched all 5 hours in one night. And it's just, you almost have to see it to believe it. And to this day, it still holds up. It's a work of absolute genius.
Yep.
It was shown consecutively
Yeah,
that week. It
one
was
a night.
on every night, and it was one of the last times I remember that event television, and everybody was talking about it. It was so gut-wrenching.
It just blew everyone away.
And Yancho's Shrine's still there, so if you go into Cardiff, Gary, you'll have to go and find it. You can actually stand, and there's a plaque that salutes Yanto Jones for saving the world. It's really lovely done as well.
Cool. That's cool. I'll have to go see that. No, it's believe it or not, I thought it was one of the most believable alien things. They actually just going there in the Doctor Who universe and having this race. It went places you didn't think they would go, and it was subverting expectations before that term was being bandied about. So, and that's how you did it.
And I believe Chibs is still listed as a producer on that season.
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, Chibs had nothing to do with that creatively. That was RTD at his creative best.
Yep.
That was RTD being kind and including him.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the credits. Yeah.
Graffader for 100 rubles. All continuity and politics aside, I like Dr. Ruth more than Whittaker's in acting. The TARDIS in the costume. She should have been a proper 13. I'm not going to disagree with you. The TARDIS was better. Her acting was better. And it probably had something to do with presence. It's all about presence, screen presence. Alex Hawker for $1.99. Maybe Ruth Doctor is from a parallel universe. Maybe she is. I certainly hope so. Undoing canon is unforgivable. Okay, it's unforgivable. And it just jumped on me. I apologize, folks. We're going to be here. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done here. Thanks for hanging in there. We had up to 2,700 people watching. And we still have over 2,500 people watching. We have 981 likes. So if you could hit that like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll leave this one up for a little while on the channel. I generally don't leave live streams that are big long up. I put them over on Nerdrotic Live, but I'll leave this one up. But remember to go and check it out at Nerdrotic Live on Monday. And please subscribe to Bowles Trek. Bowles Trek is one of the best channels out there. He is a fandom menacer. He is a Canadian. He loves his Doctor Who. he says woke Batman better than anybody else, and he's got a goat.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Gary, and we love Gary too. See, now you've made me. You're ruining my cred because now I'm blushing. Okay, we
See,
love
I made
Gary.
him
Hail
blush.
Nerdrotic.
We
Hey,
do. I love you both.
And we love Starry. And Starry's gonna I'm gonna speak for you because I'm a man, so you just be quiet, our little lady. Starry is she's practicing. She's getting ready for possibly doing YouTube as a hobby or something. So what we have her on. She's doing great, by the way. You're doing great.
you.
So that's but until then, then we'll plug. But you could follow you're on Twitter, correct?
I am on Twitter, yes. I'm sure one of the mods will put my Twitter handle in.
The Modrotics are good at that. Mika Robinson for $10. I like I don't know. Hang on a second. I like the Geester and Wolves. I like Geester and Wolves the best. You should do a review. Mika, someday when we have an extra day in the year, an extra hour in the day, and an extra year in a decade. Now, maybe someday if I can squeeze it in. I am so behind. I have to finish my Witcher review and Star Trek Picard. I cannot believe I spent that much time on a video that, I mean, quite honestly, it's not going to perform like one of my Star Wars videos. But I worked on it like it was my stairway to heaven. Because I had to get everything right. Dash Fat Bastard for $2. Newsflash: Kobe Bryant killed in a helicopter crash. Yes, thank you. We are aware, and since it got brought up, TM Martin added a super chat with horrible news that his teenage daughter perished with him. I'm very sorry to say. Yeah, that's. I don't mean to disrespect the dead in any way, shape, or form. It's just look how helicopters fly. Like how they stay in the air. So many things could go wrong. And I know I have a stupid fear of flying, but this is why. Why. There's no place going to worth dying, right, Bowles Trek?
I'm with you right there. I have a fear of flying. I have to go out of town quite frequently for work. And one of the cities that I go to is a 45-minute airline flight away, or a 6-hour drive. I take the driving option. And I'll enjoy the drive and listen to audiobooks. I will not get on a plane unless I absolutely have to. And I've only been on a plane once, and that was enough for me.
I've never been on one. My mum was she was scared of flying, so as a child I never did it, and I haven't got around to it yet. But my kids want to, so at some point I'm gonna have to push myself. But yeah, I don't. The idea isn't appealing.
So you've never been on? I think I've flown maybe a dozen times, 12, 13, 14 times maybe, but not a lot. I drive. I'm like Bowles Trek. I go down to Southern California a lot. It's 500 miles away. It is a 1-hour flight. But it's an 8-hour drive to San Diego, and I will take the 8-hour drive every single time. I've got Big Finish. That's how I listen to a lot of my Big Finish, Lord of the Rings audiobook. I love it.
That's what I do. Every time I have to go on a drive, I put some Big Finish on a flash drive, and I listen to 3 or 4 audiobooks on my way up there and 3 or 4 on my way back.
Yep. It's work. It's like you're doing research, Bowles Trek.
Yep.
And it's fun. And I love to get in my big FJ Cruiser, gas guzzling beast. But it's a good zombie apocalypse mobile, just in case. You never know when shit's going to go sideways, folks. The
I
zombies
always get a rental because they pay for it, but it's a big rental. I always get an SUV.
Attaboy. Okay. Professor Thaskalus, which is the master. You Greek master, you. $5. Doctor Who played by Jodie Whittaker. The first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. The second female doctor. Whittaker. The second female doctor. No, it's the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. Which, to this day, that's how the Access Media refers to her.
Either that or Dr. Nasty.
Dr. Nasty. We got Dr. Nasty. Hypothetically, with a much better written team at the helm, could you have been happy with the other doctor actress as the 13th? Asked Laura Swinton for £5. Yes.
Yeah, she's better than Whitaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I should say Dr. Nasty.
Good writing. Go on.
She absolutely paled in comparison to this. I can't remember what's the actress called. I
Better actress. That's what she's known as right now.
She was Jo Martin.
Yeah, she's better. She's a better actress, period. I will always say that good writing and good characterization, good acting will win me over every single time. I mean, it doesn't matter what your message or your theme is. If it's entertaining, it's entertaining. That's all. Martin Dahl for $5. Thank you very much. Nothing to say, but donation. I appreciate that. John Smith for $4.99. Gen Z is divided into memer centrists and conservatives like PewDiePie and brainwashed lefties. Two sides like the same we grew up in. Yeah, I mean, Generation X largely is a disappointment to me. But there's some of us who hang in there, right, Bowles Track? So
yeah, well, we like I said, we're the one generation that hasn't really changed because we were pessimistic when we were teenagers, and we're pessimistic now. But we are also the ones that brainwashed this generation and raised them. So, and again, very clear. I don't speak for all of them. I'm saying a large segment of Generation Zers. But like what you're saying, John Smith, a lot of them, you have a head on your shoulders.
Yep, that's right. C Doku for $5 Canadian. It's crazy here in Canada. I blame Justin Trudeau and his politically correct mainstream media. Please don't think all Canadians think that way. You're awesome, Gary. I don't. I've had nothing but positive interactions with Canadians. I have a lot of Canadian subscribers, and Bulls Trek has a ton. And no, you guys are awesome. I have no.
Yeah, well, what you see in the media and the way our PM represents us, that is not your typical Canadian. And we don't have there's no, like, our only media outlet that didn't speak for the left was shut down, and now they're on they're on YouTube. But the average Canadian has nobody speaking for them, and we are not like Justin Trudeau. There's a lot of anger in this country that you will never hear about.
Yeah, and I'm the one who should be apologizing. I'm in San Francisco, and there's a couple of us who don't think like the city does, but not many. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of an outlier.
Yeah, we're both sort of in hell. Well, no, if you're in this downtown Toronto, which is one of the richest areas on the continent, you cannot live there unless mommy and daddy are loaded. And coincidentally, it's the wokest place. It's probably woker than San Francisco. It is absolute hell. So there's a correlation there. I'll see if anybody can put together what that correlation is.
Yep. Nah, it's the same. I'm in the outskirts. I'm in the last place you could buy a home at a normal price, and this was 20 years ago in San Francisco. It was the freaking hood. I bought a home. I had a nice condo in a nice neighborhood in San Diego, and I bought a home in like Shooty McShooter Town, and it cleaned up nicely enough, but I was lucky. But it was like the last place, it was a broken down old house. Still kind of is, but it's old. I got lucky, but no, it's bad here. It's San Francisco's fucking horrible. I wouldn't recommend anybody coming here right now. If you're a tourist, I mean, I would. It's just not safe.
No, it's
not. Yeah, it's not clean.
I'm like that with Toronto, which is. Well, it's much larger than San Francisco, but it's the same thing. I don't even want to visit there. I was there twice this year, drove through it one more time, and it's what I would call, for anybody like us, it is hell on earth. You are in woke hell, and every stereotype you can think of is there. And then right outside woke Toronto, you have North Toronto, lovingly known as the Jane and Finch area, which these days makes Compton look like a happy place. So it's a mess.
Dang. Yep. Jody would be fine with better writing, says Luby Spider for $2. I don't know.
No, she can't pull it off.
Yeah. 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 No. I mean, well, I guess we'll never know.
Still with the lack of presence.
Yep. That can't be written away. That's something you have to have as an actor. How long before the pre-Doctor stuff all goes the way of the Doctor is half human history, and the fandom have a way of filtering out this nonsense? Oz Baxter Incorporated for $5. If it survives, I mean, we're talking like 10 years down the road, people will go, man, remember when the Doctor was a girl? Oh, that was such a weird time. I don't think it will survive to get to that point.
No. The Doctor half human thing. Yeah, it's one of those. It is an example of something that's been decanonized. But it was actually a Canadian production of Doctor Who. So the Eighth Doctor is canon, but I think a lot of people have put the TV movie out of their heads as kind of canon. But Paul McGann has completely redeemed himself, so he is the Doctor, and that was never spoken of again. And we could also, in some way, write that off as a post-regenerative psychosis episode, whereas you cannot write off the entire Whittaker era as being post-regenerative psychosis 2 series in.
Yeah, the only time that I remember they brought it up again, and it was only in passing, and it doesn't canonize anything, was when and it's only because I just watched the episode last week or 2 weeks ago. In Hellbent brings it up. Why do you go to Earth all the time? And so they insinuate it, but it doesn't get answered, and that's probably the last time they'll ever speak of it. Denny Bacon, I forgot what she asked though. She said, they were talking about the hybrid and the 2 races. I watched that episode again. I'm like, did the hybrid ever get answered? Did we ever find out?
No, that's part of the problem near the final Stephen Moffat, where there are different ways you can look at it, but no explanation was given. And this was Steve Moffat's problem near the end. Wasn't wokeness, forced wokeness. It was he didn't answer questions. And in terms of what the hybrid actually is, you could say it was the Doctor, you could say it was Clara, you could say it was me. And sorry guys, I'm just going to step away just for one quick second.
Go for it.
My dog is she as everybody knows, every time I guest on a stream, she does this to me. So I will be right back.
Dog has to pee. All right. And I will go on. They brought up the hybrid that it had to be 2 warrior races. So who was played by Maisie Williams, said, well, you could be half human and half Time Lord. I mean, you do go to Earth a lot. So it did get brought up once, but that was it. Denny Bacon for $2. Doctor Who and the Daleks in black and white start again. Why not? I don't know why they didn't just make a new. See, this is how much they don't believe in the women. They just don't. If they did, you could have rebooted. You could have done a Romana series, but no, they wanted to take something away. That's what this was about. Rotten Tomatoes has 944 user reviews. Get ready for a reset, says the Talons of Wang Chang for £2. Yeah, once it gets to 1,000, it resets. I wasn't gonna make a Doctor Who video. Shit, now I am. 200 Watt Studio for $2. Space Force is not a Trek steal. Google Blake 7. Well, actually,
it does look like the Blake 7 logo. Actually, yeah. Oh, you really need to watch that, Gary. You will love it.
I've got
the production is Doctor Who and some of the cast as well, and that you'll love it.
Oh yeah, I've got it ready to go. But no, actually, the logo, the Starfleet logo predates. I don't know if that version predates Blake 7, but it might. And they also, I think there's an Air Force logo they got it from. It doesn't matter. I don't care. They can plagiarize it. I like the logo. It doesn't bother me. It bothers George Takei, but maybe that's why they did it. Maybe it's a troll logo. A shout out for our future starry-eyed YouTuber from Chris Persia for a Canadian $5.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Your biggest fan, Chris.
It is.
Yes, Adam Wolford for $2. Also, if you looked at NASA's logo, it's like Space Force. Yeah, they're very similar. Absolutely. Rosetta Allen for $2. I will, if I end up in Cali, make sure to meet you. Absolutely, Rosetta. We'll make it happen. Mark C for $5. Yep, Kurtzman, Kennedy, and Chibnall, all three heads of not just any Hydra, but King Ghidorah. Yes, Ghidorah.
Yes, Ghidorah.
God damn it. I know how to say it in my head, but when I see it spelling, I'm saying it wrong. Mark, forgive me. I was up so late last night. Swinging Cod for $2. Starfleet logo taken from old U.S. Air Force Space Command. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Swinging Cod. Thank you. Cyborg T100 for 10 pounds. Do you think during the Time War, the Dalek destroy the time matrix, causing it to split and causing multi-dimensions, thus including Richard E. Grant, Peter Cushing's, R. Bella Weir, etc., becomes all canon? Yeah. I mean, there could be alternate universe doctors, and I wouldn't be against that. I'm not against that. If you don't fuck with the original canon, I'm not against it. And it doesn't make my rumor wrong either, because the way I said, there's a lot of ways they could go about this. 200-watt studio for $2. Captain Jack is great. John Barrowman is as well. He is. Chumley, 73 for $2. Gothic Hammer type horror from Hinchcliffe is number one.
Yes.
Yes. Rowie for life, 5 pounds. I don't know if everyone has said it, but ForbiddenPlanet.com has pre-orders for new figures of 13-gram Dalek and TARDIS for 13. They do. Those are specialty though. So those aren't made for mass production. Like the old, it's like they don't have wave case allotments. Actually, Doctor Who went away from that. They tried to go 3 3/4 inch. It didn't work. So they're making specialty figures now, which are essentially like Diamond did. They're limited production runs. They're low risk, low yield action figures. So you don't make a lot of money off them. So they used to do action figure cases, allotment sets that made them a lot of money. It went downhill. And now it's just they're for Forbidden Planets and B&E or whatever it's called. They'll probably be for you could probably find them at comic shops. Comic shops are like the last specialty stores here in the States. There's no retail for that shit anymore.
It's interesting. Where are the Ryan and Yas figures? It's interesting how Graham's one of the first to get made. Yeah. So progressive. Hey, in Star Trek, why are they bringing back all the old white people? Why are those the only people being brought back? That's one thing I had to add in my video. I was like, oh, they only brought back the white people. That's weird. I'm going to use their own logic against them. I don't give a shit personally, but Fall of Gondolin is now on Audible. Oh, Darkinian, thank you for 2 pounds. Yes. The Fall of Gondolin. That is some Lord of the Rings. I could read that poem. I was just I love how Gimli talks about that. Gimli has become one of my favorite characters over time. I love Gimli. In fact, I watched the Fellowship of the Ring the other night, the extended edition, and I just love it so good. It
is perfect. It is pure magic. It is beautiful. It's my happy place. You know, Star Trek and Doctor Who were supposed to be your happy place, right? That's where you went. It's like, you know what? I'm sick, or I'm done watching the news. Well, let's watch some Doctor Who with my kid. Now I can't even do that. They don't want us to rest. Insert name here has become a member at the Geloja level. Welcome. William Barr for £2. Jack Harkness Thumb. Why, mate? Jack. Oh, why? Why is he on the thumbnail? I won't tell you if you don't know. But it's out there. I was debating on putting it on the thumbnail, and then I saw everybody on Twitter already talking about it. I'm like, well, shit, I can talk about it then. But if you don't know, don't anybody tell them. Alan
Hi,
Massey.
everyone.
Hey.
Hey, it's back.
Oh yeah, she's happy now. She's having dinner, so hopefully she'll leave us alone.
That's good.
She's
I'm
very
glad she's
spoiled.
happy. We need a good spoiled dog. Was at the range exercising my rights, listening to this live stream. It was a good day. Alan Massey for $5. That's awesome. Listening to the live stream at the gun range. I love that story. Using your weapon properly, training with your weapon, with your God-given right to defend yourself in a place where the bad guys have weapons that are much more sophisticated and deadly. To take them away from the good guys would just mean you're sitting ducks. And that's the biggest problem here in the States, is taking away the fire. If they tried to do that, you would have to take them away from poor neighborhoods. I just won't go any further. You can do the math on that one. It wouldn't be a good look if you had a bunch of cops running around poor neighborhoods taking things away from people. Andrew Brown for $1.99. Glad you guys watch this. I'd rather watch the 50th. Yep. I have the 50th has excellent 3D, Bulls Trek. I've always liked the 3D in the 50th.
I've never seen it in 3D. I have the limited edition 3D disc, but I never owned a 3D TV. So
it's really good. They really did a good job with it. So, especially with the painting, with Gallifrey Falls no more.
Oh, yeah.
No.
But now it does. It falls again. It got back up and it fell down again.
I'd almost think I haven't watched the 50th anniversary, I don't think, since Whitaker took over. And I think right now I would find it too depressing to watch, because if you think Doctor Who back in 2013, it was such a big deal. Everybody was celebrating. And now you look at what it's become, well, a little over 6 years later, and it's like so much potential. We had the 50th anniversary. We had that first series with Capaldi, which seemed to be a new golden era, and it just all went to hell within a few years.
So quickly. And it's a testament to how strong the franchise is that it's still around, to be honest with you. Yeah. But, I'm telling you, I was telling everybody, 10 years from now, nobody will be talking about Star Trek, Doctor Who, and Star Wars. They will be memories. They will be, how people talk about the Transformers and G.I. Joe right now. James Bond is even in decline. That's what those franchises will be in 10 years. They will be forgotten, and Dragon Ball Z will probably have a movie made and or something, something anime or something something those young kids like. And that'll be it. It'll be over. Or maybe we'll be on series 10 of The Witcher, and it could disappoint us like Game of Thrones did. 200-watt studio for $2. Ghidorah the Explorer. Poseidon MGTOW. Poseidon MGTOW. That's probably an
Poseidon?
Is it Poseidon? Oh, it is Poseidon. I'm retarded. MGTOW for $5. Give them nothing. Take from them everything. Yes. Yeah. While you were gone, we were stating that Doctor Who was simply, they did it to take something away. That was the only reason they brought us Jodie. It was to take something away. It wasn't done for anything else than that. Jodie Bowie for $2. Gwen was a better cop than Yaz could ever be. LOL. That's you're damn straight there.
Yeah.
Joel Tamburo for $5. Hey, me said the hybrid could be two people, the Doctor and Clara, pushing each other more and more dangerous extremes as the Doctor acts showed. I watched the episode, Joel. but they didn't definitively answer the question. So that was one of the possibilities.
Moffat liked leaving things open, but yeah, that was one of his faults. Although you got to love the man. At least he loved the show and he was trying.
Yes, but yes, that was definitely said, Joel. I remember that, and I didn't think that was the defining thing, though, because me also said that the Doctor could have been the hybrid.
Yeah.
So, or Clara could have been the hybrid, or me could have been the hybrid. Chumley 73, $2. What's your favorite TARDIS? Mine is the fourth secondary TARDIS. You're gonna hate what my favorite interior for the TARDIS was the seventh Doctor in the beginning of Paul McGann's movie. That fucking loved the interior of that TARDIS. I thought that was so fucking cool. Yeah, that was my favorite interior by far. I was like, oh, why can't they have that?
I'm old. My favorite is the Tom Baker TARDIS. I always see that as being the classic definitive TARDIS up until the episode before the 5 Doctors.
I agree with you on that. I want the circles. I want the small console. I like that. I like Tenet's okay, but Tom Baker's is the best. But my favorite is that one from the movie. It's okay.
My favorite is the Tennant one because that was the first one I was exposed to. But I like the one of the 5 Doctors. And it's pretty cool seeing it up close as well.
Yeah, the 5 Doctors. I like the TARDIS redesign, which that lasted until the end of the series, where all that was left was a wall and a beat up console, which is why it was so dark in Sylvester McCoy's final season during the one scene it appears in. Oh, we're getting hyper, aren't we? I'm sure you can all hear Lexi screaming in the background. You saying,
"What's up, Lexi?"
It's because she could hear me talking to nobody. So,
she's like, "Master's losing it."
Oh, come on! It's not that. Okay, I'm gonna go give her another cookie.
Go for it. But no, the 10th Doctor playset. Have you seen it? I've got. That's a box down there. That was the best toy. I mean, it's got the console it works. It makes multiple sounds. It makes ambient sounds. It's a big ass play set. I've got 2 of them. I've got one with all the figures on it up there, and one in the box. They're great. They made like a Mego like classic one. Biff Bang Pow did one where it's a TARDIS that folds into the classic console with Tom Baker. That one's cool too. Except my dog ate part of it. Having been born in La Jolla, I had to sub at $5. LOL. Insert my name here for $2. That's where my dear mother grew up on Genter Street in La Jolla. Well, welcome. Yes, I am a San Diego native. I am a native San Diegan. Mark C for $5. And welcome, by the way. Speaking of firearm training, did you see the Twitter clip of Will Smith correcting someone's gun safety? No, I'll have to watch that. I'll have to watch that, though. Is it in a good way or a bad way, Mark? Some nobody for $5. And the SJWs want to put us all in camps. They talked about it in the 70s. They talked about it recently. Folks have a right to defend themselves. They do. And they talked about re-education camps, and that wasn't a joke. They did talk about that stuff. I would be one of the people who would be headed towards one of those things for either side. I would need to be re-educated, and I would probably just perish at that point. Doctor Who will be mask in 10 years. And it's the anagram mask, M-A-S-K. It'll be gone in 10 years. William, Unoctium for £10. I thought Capaldi's era was cringe, especially when Arya turned up. I quite like this. Might just be RTD member berries. Maybe I don't feel pissed off by this because I know the politics is ineffective. Oh, I would take Capaldi's era over this in a million years. And I think maybe it was just the member berries, and Captain Jack showing up was there to it was there. I mean, they clearly want to win some fans back. I'm not denying this is that they want. I mean, they're bringing back the Cybermen. They are clearly making an attempt to have their cake and eat it too. They want to win some fans back, but they aren't changing their wokeness. Except this time, John Barrowman has attached his name to it. Disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It doesn't help though. I mean, this doesn't change my mind at all. I'm not going to be fooled by a quick appearance by Captain Jack that did not feel organic at all. Was it great seeing him back? Sure. Awesome. Doesn't help the show. The episode was still long and meandering. And I thought honestly, that the other female doctor was more interesting. Still wasn't good. But they are resorting to tricks and gimmicks. And listen, there's a lot of people out there who are going to eat this shit up.
They're still talking to me on Twitter right now.
I mean, I don't know what they're shoving in your face, though. It's like we were calling this shit. We're predicting it. We're not surprised. The only surprise was Captain Jack coming back. I had no idea. I said I wasn't going to mention this, so I better not.
We're all getting triggered.
Yeah,
I see a lot of that. We're triggered anytime that we see someone who isn't a white male in our precious TV show. They're snowflakes and grifters to a fault. That's just the most recent one. But I've got
grifters. The grifter would be mean I'm lying. That I actually like stuff and I'm bullshitting you. No, I generally don't. And I mean, if they don't listen, if they want to make their opinions without watching our stuff, then they're just farts in the wind, as was saying earlier, which is what most of Twitter is.
Yep.
If you are
a lovely place,
if you do not show your face and you do not give your name, you have no respect for me. As far as if you're going to come in and criticize me, I don't listen to a thing you say. Again, you're a fart in the wind. I don't know what you're protecting. I mean, like, show your face, put your name out there, put your name on your opinion, and then it's real to me, and then I'll listen to it. I would consider it. But yeah, I've got one guy who just comes in and calls me trash and stuff, and it's just some animated girl with a machine gun. I forgot what the guy's name was, but
the one I was just quoting, whose name I will not mention, has a purple-haired cartoon thing.
Of course. I don't block a single person on Twitter. I don't mute a single person on Twitter. I just ignore a lot of people. It's easy. The Who addicts loved this episode, says the Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews, $2. Of course they did. The episode itself structurally wasn't very sound. It wasn't very well written. It had a bunch of surprises. That's it. People are, they're easily led. That's all. But hey, that's great. If you liked it, I have no problem with that. Just don't have a problem with me not liking it. We have reached the end of our super chats, and we're going to call it a day because this has gone on way too long, but we really needed to talk about this.
Yeah, well, I think originally we planned on 40 minutes, or that's what. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to be joining another live stream in progress right after this as well.
Yeah,
wow.
I have to go on Inquisition in a couple hours, so I've got to go drink some tea. All right, yes, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant and his daughter. Please plug your channels. We'll start with Bulls Trek.
Hello, everyone. Let's see, who am I? Oh, yes, I'm Bulls Trek. That's my name. So I'm youtube.com/BullsTrek, BOWLESTREK. I have a fan club, which is in full swing these past 2 hours. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen them in this state quite before, so it's awesome. Follow me on Twitter because my Twitter feed is absolutely hilarious, especially today. And yeah, that's what I do. I complain about things, and occasionally I riff on woke Batman, although I won't have time to do that for a while, but that's what I do. Oh yeah, and there's a talking goat. The goat is really excited over what's going on Twitter right now, not to mention some of my comments on older videos. So yay.
Yes. Nice. Starry, please plug yourself.
You can follow me on Twitter, and you can also find me on the Type 40 podcast, which is on the Fandom Podcast Network and on this Facebook and social media as well, and popping up on some streams as well. Yeah, you can follow me. You can find me on YouTube. I'm getting subscribers, so I really need to start thinking about what I'm going to do. But I want to talk about something happy. I don't want to start things off being, having to talk about this disaster.
I made my last happy video a year ago. It was about the Orville, which is actually my highest viewed video so far. So, yeah, at some point, I swear I will do something happy again.
Oh, well, tell you what, when the Orville comes back, you guys come cover it with me.
Okay, good.
Cool, yeah.
Something to save our sanity. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to watch some classic Who after this. So yeah, follow Starry on Twitter, and yeah, you can subscribe to her. I'll put myself on camera real quick. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Inquisition tonight with Doomcock, and we're going to talk a lot more about this. And I was going to say, I guess my Star Trek Picard video will be old news, but it'll be out tomorrow morning because I'm not going to put it out on Sunday afternoon, which kind of sucks. But I've been working so hard on this, and it's just coming out so late. I'm like, God.
Seeing it.
And the rumor looks like it was true. So shit. Until next time, everyone. And we will be back next Sunday. I don't think it'll be a 3-hour fest. We're going to try to keep them to 45 minutes from here on out. But we had this one.
Even worse happens next week. But
I say that it probably will. So until next time, everyone, have a great day. And remember, not all who wander are. Oh, we got one more super chat in there. $50 says K9 comes back as a bi-trans species cat.
Why did I just took a sip of coffee before you read that.
We'll end it right there. I'm sorry, Doctor Who fans, and Jody, what Jody Bots, and what is it? The Bulls Trek Rainbow Fan Club.
Rainbow Hate Mob. I might trademark that term, and like I said, it's still going over on Twitter. I've never seen anything like this. This is hilarious.
So follow Bulls Trek over to, is it on Noel's channel?
I'm going to be on the he's actually 2 hours into his stream, so I will be joining it shortly in probably about 5 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, go over and watch Noel. If you want to continue the conversation, go and check out Noel. He's awesome. All right, not all who wander are lost. Bye.
Bye.